Welcome back, everyone. We're excited to be here because we are right back into the action. We've seen so much collegiate action over the last couple days here with NA Star League, but it is time to get down and dirty with it. We are getting into some Super Smash Bros. Ultimate action, and I'm excited to go ahead and say we are into the quarterfinals. Things are getting a little bit messy for a lot of the teams as they are now vying for a spot in the semifinals and onwards. My name is Orbital. With me is, of course, Soy Sauce, and we will be your casters here tonight over two amazing series. Soy, how you doing? Are you excited for tonight?
Oh, I'm excited. I mean, SSBU, there's nothing quite like top 8 action, and these schools always deliver, and we've got quite the sets coming up. Stony Brook, the defending champions, going up against UNC Greensboro, two teams that we covered just last week, and then we get the opposite side of the bracket, Oakland up against Manchester later. The winners of these two sets will actually play each other in the semifinals, so it should be a fun sequence.
And that makes me so excited. And I mean, let's get into this first match because, of course, we'll have time to talk about the other two later. But we literally saw these two teams battled out previously, and their players were nothing to scoff at. Stony Brook University sitting on Jintis, Quid, Cody, Avanchi, as well as Bravestar. These 5 players really putting up a test for us and showing that they still got what it takes. On the other side, University of North Carolina at Greensboro, Swift Baby, Ops, as well as Moxart, Wheatley, and Camellia. These 5 also had a little bit of run, but surprisingly, UNCG, they had a little bit of a trick up their sleeves as they also had subs coming in their series to help out.
Yeah, and those substitutes really helped. After dropping the opening series, they come back, battle back, and win the next two. Stony Brook, obviously coming in as the #1 seed, they had an easier path, but DePaul was no slouch, and they were able to handle them well. So this is a really exciting matchup, especially when you look at the cast of characters these teams bring to the table. It should be an explosive matchup.
And I mean, let's start with UNCG because their match itself, you and I were a little bit surprised watching it come forward, and we even had an interview at the end that was very, very fun. But there were specifically a few characters that really took us by surprise, and I want to say one that grew along the way was Camellia, as we are going to get straight into it. I think the players are already set. We aren't even going to be able to talk about Camellia just yet because we got the Mega Man as well as the Yoshi coming out with fire.
One of the players that that Stony Brook really like to lead with, this Mega Man can be very difficult to deal with. Swift Baby going to have their work cut out for them, but so far they are the ones in the lead through the first bit. It's a very awkward, kind of clanky matchup between these two because of the way these two characters move, but so far the pressure is on Vanchi to adjust because look at that quick kill by Swift Baby.
Oh man, living up to the name and now looking for another. However, a rebuttal answer is going to be on the edge here. It is looking like Vanchi is trying to get a little bit of a chance back. And remember, 6% is not too bad. You're going ahead and hanging on. Good little slash there, 125. Good little aerial. And now you're hoping for a bit more, but the egg is going to clear out that ledge. And all of a sudden, Swift Baby is in a prime spot to take control of the mid.
Swift Baby's movement right now is on point, just barely outspacing some of these aerials from Vanchi. Good back air to land, maybe a chance to follow up. Vanchi's trying to cover these options with that forward smash. It just covers so much space, especially along the ledge. But Swift Baby is playing very smart defensively, but unfortunately there can't get the B reverse to land, and that back air will clean up stock #1.
Ooh. I mean, honestly, Swift Baby in still really good position. Remember, in these openers, you're not really saying, I'm going to take 3 right away. I'm not even going to take 2 right away. It's just getting that stock lead, getting your team that kind of jump up, and that's going to be a great little extra damage to be chipped on. 147 and then some, and then the shield. Beautifully done to go ahead and keep Vanchi on the ledge here. This Mega Man at 162 is more than killable here, and I mean, that's why you're kind of keeping him at bay. You can see all the projectiles currently going out. Don't want to get too close because that can happen.
And Yoshi is a character that really doesn't struggle with straight hit kill power. There's so many moves in this kit that are so damaging, and the fact that Swift Baby is landing so many strong hits with this Yoshi, it means that percent, you would think Vanchi on this Mega Man would be able to survive a little bit longer, but Swift Baby being so aggressive is just cutting down on that time frame.
And it's something that you have to get over, but right now you're on your last leg, 68% and counting. Honestly, Swift Baby is more than happy with that ledge play. Is going to pop it up to 103, and then the up smash finishes it off with 2. What a surprise, Swift Baby coming out with 2 stocks left.
An explosive start from Swift Baby in this series. A 2-stock lead over Stony Brook. And this is a matchup that, again, it feels very awkward for Vanchi to play out. But in theory, Mega Man should still be able to try and chip away at Swift Baby's stocks. But in the end, Swift Baby just had, gave them no time. They just were in their face constantly. And Yoshi's defense is pretty good. Out of shield options are pretty strong. And you can tell Yoshi's one of these characters that, although the hitboxes are a little bit oddly disjointed at times and oddly placed with things like the back air multi-hit, they are able to string together a lot of damage really quickly. And it just cut down on the time of the match. Vanchi getting exploited very early in the series.
And that's going to be a problem, right? For the side of Stony Brook, they're a team that likes to dominate out the gate and then play off of that. They start getting the counter picks. They start getting those matchups that they prefer. This time, they're the ones that kind of have to go into this one blind. And when I say that, you got to work through 5 stocks if you want to take the lead. Keep that in mind. The next player has to work through 5 if they want to be able to match up and go back to a lead in their own. We have gotten word that it is going to be Bravestar coming out here with the Lucina into that Yoshi, hoping to take the last 2 stocks. I mean, what do you think of that matchup? Instead of all the projectiles from the Mega Man, it's going straight back to the tried and true sword.
I do like this pick, right? Because the way Swift Baby was playing, they were trying to get aggressive, just scrapping in. And Yoshi has traditionally struggled with sword characters. Just the sword is longer. They can wall you out a bit more. And in theory, they should be able to take stocks off the back of it. The problem is that Yoshi is just a generally faster character than a lot of swordies. Lucina, maybe less so, will be able to keep up with the pace, but it should be, I think, a very much back and forth kind of trading of stocks and trading of damage between the two of them if wow, I keep wanting to say Swift Yoshi for some reason. Swift Baby plays this correctly.
I mean, to be fair, Swift Baby was pretty dang swift. You talked about it time and time again, and this time around, it's going to be more of the same, right? Keep control of that spacing. Try and kind of break into Lucina's, little territory wars, and then keep moving. You're going to have to be even faster, I would say, and a lot more meticulous. So let's go ahead, get underway, and we'll see how this plays out. We are going to town here, and it is going to be actually town, as I say. I realize that is a quote as well, but it is the stage town, as Swift Baby is going to rocket onto.
So one of the problems with this matchup for Bravestar is that Yoshi, when they get one hit, they can string together a lot of multi-hits and rack up that damage like you saw in the opening set. Whereas Lucina, it feels like the game plan is really just kind of one and done. It's mostly defense, wall your opponent out. And that means that if Swift Baby gets in, they can get a ton of that damage. So Bravestar, the emphasis is on them in this defensive playstyle to make smart decisions. Don't overextend for anything, because that's where Yoshi can get a lot of extra credit.
Well, you were saying that, and all of a sudden it's a dance on the ledge right now, if you will, from Bravestar, having to try and hold on. But again, those little breaks, the little setups here to chip away, going from about 40 up to 89. This is Bravestar trying to fight for space and trying to fight for control on their own. Neutral currently set in favor of this Yoshi, and all of a sudden a nice sweep. There we go. Bravestar able to finish off one.
Get that forward smash real strong there. No sweet spot required or anything, and they get that first stock off the board, but hanging to the corner like you said, and they just barely get caught by the tail. They tried to spot dodge it, but well timed on that down smash to take that stock back.
And I mean, that's more than you could ask for, right? Already 4 stocks taken away. 5 is what we say is a great time. And I mean, Swift Baby is on the verge of doing so. 23%, you're just hunting for a little bit of an opening. And these combinations, these neutral airs are just being a boot in the face. It's a problem. It's a menace to deal with. Bravestar needs to try and neutralize and deny a lot of these damage chunks, or else you're on the verge of losing another stock.
I think that Bravestar right now needs to be throwing out a little bit more up tilt, but instead they might get a down smash kill. No, just barely surviving. Swift Baby staying up high. Yoshi's aerials are just a bit stronger, so it's good for them to stay in the air, but they are being tracked down right now, and one solid hit of forward air could do it, but that was a risky up B. This could be a punish. No, instead, down tilt blocks them out. These forward airs are doing so much work for Swift Baby as well.
It's now a one-hit game here. The down smash not going to do too much, but the up smash coming out of Bravestar says, nah, I'll stab you and you will die. Well done to contain, and again, put it to a 1-stock game.
1-stock game. That one got a little bit closer, I think, than Bravestar would have liked, but they'll take it, knocking down one member of UNCG. But Swift Baby doing a decent amount of damage and really making Bravestar work for it. And you can see the threat of this Yoshi, right? It's not just one hit and done like the Lucina typically is. It's 2 hits, 3 hits, and that damage, each aerial is, double digits minimum. And that means it's 20, 30, very, very quickly. And Yoshi's certainly not lacking in kill power against a lot of these characters that Stony Brook like to play. They are typically on the lighter side of the cast, so they can take those stocks very quickly. But Bravestar, just in that last sequence, getting that up smash, really smart, trying to anti-air Yoshi, because Yoshi's aerial's very strong, but the fact that up smash just able to call out him on the ground in that last sequence, very well done.
And reading your opponent is going to be very important, as it is for this next round. Keep in mind, Bravestar is still out with Lucina. You are now kind of put in this pigeonhole because Lucina's, yes, they're strong, but there are some matchups where, excuse me, you kind of sit there and go, okay, I probably don't want to be in here. So for the side of Stony Brook, what do you want to do? I mean, what do you expect to come out here? Because, I mean, as we said, UNCG have also quite a deep roster themselves.
Yeah, UNCG, there's a couple different ways they could go about this, because Lucina is a character that everyone generally kind of knows the game plan of, right? It's very bread and butter and very straightforward. They're going to wall you out. They've got consistent combos and consistent damage output with that sword just kind of covering the general area around them. I mean, it's the same type of hitboxes that we've seen from, Marth and Melee. So everyone knows the type of movement Lucina brings to the table. You just have to be a little bit more tricky about how you get in, how you get your damage here if you're Bravestar. I'd expect a smaller stage just to force more interactions and make that sword a bit more prevalent, but it does really depend on who UNCG opt to send in here, and it could be anybody, because we've seen that they often like to send in those substitutes, and after last week's win, they're all playing confident.
Yeah, and taking a look at that, the one most confident that we didn't really get to talk about is Camellia. Camellia coming out here with that min-min instead of going for, trying to duel in their own space. Let's keep them at range, right? Keep them at bay, keep the arms out. And in this situation, what do you like? Because Camellia was one of the runners that really took off in game number 3. It was ridiculous in that set how well Camellia just ran. I think it was like 5 or 6 stocks in a row.
Yeah, this is a really smart pick by UNCG, because Lucina, their advantage is that they have a sword, they're just going to wall you out. Well, you can't do that against Min. Their arms are just longer, they cover more of the stage, and they are very good at occupying the airspace that Lucina will often like to cover as well. PS2, the stage pick makes a lot of sense here for both sides. You have a lot of space to work with as well, but Camellia was also a player in that last series that heated up as the day went on. Didn't have the best of starts, but really stepped up in that third set here, and it has now a favorable matchup for them against this Lucina.
Let's see how well it can go here already with those grabs into extended combinations. Looking at a little bit of an edge guard, trying to check on the top side option, but a good jump over allows Bravestar to get back on stage. The question is, how do you actually enter? You can see here the first attack is fought against, denied. Second one even more so as you're caught on the get up. And now third time is going to be that charm. You try and get a slash in, and you do. And finally the roles are reversed, but only for a moment.
Yeah, this is the struggle for Bravestar. How do you get in? Because those arms just cover so much space. You really have to time your air dodge extremely well, but there's just no time to do it. And that's such a good read on that low recovery. There's nowhere else for Lucina to go, and that's stock number 2 taken off the board.
Oh man, this is going to be a massive fight back if it's able to be turned here, and that's going to be another catch. Oh man, just barely getting up with that up B. What can you do? You're rolling, you're trying to space, and now trades back into neutral, but going for a hard stab makes it a little bit easier for this Min to actually collapse on you. And all of a sudden, those edges are your danger zone. Good jump into a little bit of flex. Push down, slash up, can't find. Good up here. And looking for another catch on the edge. A little bit of a hit. Now covering the ledge, and the back air is going to take it.
So smart there to snap to that ledge in case they get there early, and then cover the tether recovery with the back air. They are up against the wall here, but they are able to make it back to the stage. Can they find anything more? It's going to be really difficult getting out of this corner, though. The coverage of Min Min is just so strong, but they get their opening. Good combo, makes for 27%, but immediately they're knocked back off stage.
Oh man, and playing on this ledge, playing on the edge of glory is the whole call. Bravestar trying to do their best. They're able to turn it around. It would be massive, but at the current stance, it's going to be a punch to the back of the head. This is Camellia saying, this is my game. Give me that last stock. Do not take one of my own. That's going to be a good hit off edge. Do you check low? You do. Allow the get up. No, the second punch to come out finishes it off.
Finished off and well done by Camellia to shut down player number 2 of Stony Brook, maintaining UNCG's lead. But that is, again, just a matchup that is, it's a nightmare for Lucina. The thing that you do well, Min Min does it better. And that's why I love what Bravestar did on that stock that they were able to take. Get in, get aggressive. The moment Min Min's off stage, that tether recovery is really difficult to read. But if you do it, you will likely get the stock off the back of it. And there, they catch it high with the back air. Very strong aerial. Knocks him far enough away. Gets the stock off the board. So well done to take that one. But it felt like that was really all you were going to get against Camellia.
You know what? If all you're expecting to get is one, you take the expectation. You don't fall short of expectations. That is very necessary. Again, now with a player off on each side and actually 2 on the side of Stony Brook, they have a very large choice to kind of rein in. Min Min, of course, does have the power at the end, but it is exploitable. We've seen that in the previous series for UNCG. So taking a look down Stony Brook, my question is, what exactly are they going to run? How do you actually beat this this Min Min without losing a stock? I think that's the main point we want to say. There's plenty of things that can deal with this range and kind of the slow output if you can get in, but what would be optimal to maintain your stocks and hopefully go back to like a net 0 after this round?
I think that you, Stony Brook, are going to be looking at one of the Pokemon players here, either Quid on the PT or Jintis on the Pichu. They just have a little bit more speed to their game, and they have at least a sort of trump card to the arms. They both have projectiles to help themselves get in and do damage onto this Min Min, so I'd expect to see one of those two enter the ring. Jintis, I think, has a little bit easier of a time, although we talk about Pichu often as a double-edged sword because this character can die very early. But on the other hand, they deal very well with tether recoveries like Min Min has. So I feel like if they're feeling like, hey, it's set number 1 of this best of 3, why not, give him a ride? But Quid feels like the kind of well-rounded pick they might try and hold on to. I think it's one of those 2 characters or one of those 2 players who you'll likely see.
I think you're very much correct, because we actually have gotten word it is going to be that Pichu, and I know the Pichu can be dangerous. We've seen Jintis on it before, but I don't think we've seen the full force of what Jintis can provide, right? The time that we saw the Pichu come out, I think it was in last stock scenario, and you only had to take down 2, so it was more, you had a lot more wiggle room. In the current scenario, you're actually down a little bit, so what changes with the Pichu style if you're actually looking to take back the stock lead and not just try and go stock for stock?
Well, I think one thing about Jintis' gameplay is that they are extra aggressive. They love to be in your face all the time. But like you said, now that they're trailing, they'll likely try and be a bit more careful about what options they pick. Because Jintis, too, on Pichu, this is a character that does damage themselves with some of their own moves. And while that damage doesn't really deal a whole lot for a specific move, I think back air does like 0.7% or something, it will kind of scale over time if you use enough of it. So you do have to be very careful with what options you're trying to get in with. Nair, I think, is going to be one that really you'll see a lot of use of, and it's immediately getting some use here as that back air comes through, and these combos are so dangerous. This is why you pick the Pichu. Once you're in, look at that. It's 100 to 17 in terms of the percent lead.
You're just running that show, and it's already happily doing so. You can see they're getting the shield directly in front of the face of the Min Min, but a good punch out now means you have a bit of space to work with, and immediately it's a reversal right back, right? That Pichu is now in danger territory, 84, 85 and counting. Now 86 trying to go up and around, good little quick attacks to move their way forward and around this stage. This is why FD was currently picked up. You can renegotiate your own position if you play it very, very well and use every single dash in your artillery kit.
Ooh, yeah, Camellia playing really smart here, and they are gonna get the first stock off the back of it. They tried to recover back to the center of the stage, and Camellia was ready for it. That's a big opening stock for them to take.
Man, that is that feels bad, right? That feels bad. You were running up the show with an early string of combinations, and all of a sudden you are knocked into a dangerous position again and again and again. It is happening, and Jintis, you're questioning this again. Now you're upset.
Ooh, patient player on the ledge there.
Very nice.
Just a very cat and mouse game. But it is Camellia coming out on top for now, Harry. But the second hit, the down air connecting, and now Jintis off stage. How do they get out of the corner here? Neutral air connects, down air will not. The grab doesn't come through. Camellia just has the reads right now of exactly what Jintis wants, and they are beating them to the punch.
Not just that, covering all your options in a certain degree is very, very important. We saw actually that neutral stage control from the side of Camellia. It was a sweep out with a gentle tilt in the air, and then a mess up on the flip side. I don't think that was expected to happen. Stony Brook on their last.
Down to their last member there, and Jintis just gets a little caught off guard. It's a tricky scenario there along the ledge, because with that arm, it's a specific type of scenario. One of those kind of two frames along the ledge. That arm sweeps under and catches underneath, and Jintis was really careful throughout that sequence of trying to stay low and ride that wall up to the corner. But if the timing is just right, you two frame them before they can actually snap to the ledge. So Jintis thought they'd made it. They thought they were there. They thought they were safe. Once you snap to the ledge, you have invincibility for a couple frames. But they didn't quite get there in time, and thus no input comes out. They just fall to their demise.
Feels bad, man. And now it's a question, right? Do you go with the Peach or do you go with the Pokemon Trainer? And remember, this has to last upwards of, I believe, 8 stocks. It is a massive, massive charge. And if there's any team to pull this off, I think it's Stony Brook, right? Like, I think it's Stony Brook's players. They would 100% be up for the challenge. But which do you send? Which has a better scenario? Because I'm leaning towards that Pokemon Trainer. You have a little bit more in the arsenal. You have a little bit more variety. But, I mean, we've also seen what Cody can do, right? It's like, man, which do you go with?
I think you have to lean towards Quid on that Pokemon Trainer here, just because of the opening player here that you're locked in with for Camellia on the other side. Peach into Min Min, it's on paper doable, but it's rough because of the float combos. What Peach wants is to be right in that airspace where the arms will cover. So you can't necessarily get that early damage as easily as you'd like if you're Cody. Whereas Quid, at least on Ivysaur, on Squirtle, you've got those projectiles to break through those arms and get damage at least more consistently. So I'd expect to see Quid locked in here for the last spot, or Stony Brook just say, hey, we've got, some time to adjust. Let's get some players some time on stream and, make sure their hands are warmed up, because Peach is one of those characters that is really hard to execute upon. Those combos have to be so silky smooth, and they are very, very hard to do against what UNCG will likely be bringing to the table defensively.
Ooh, and you know what? We have just gotten word, because I'm keeping eyes, right? These players are talking in the chat, and they're letting us know who's playing what. And as much as you've been talking about that Pokemon Trainer, hey, let the Peach have a little bit more time, or just send in the Peach, I think they're going with your ladder ID here. It is going to be Cody on the Peach. Go ahead, send him out, get him warmed up, get him ready for set number 2, and look to try and take later in this, and, go for that mini reverse sweep. So much to kind of think about, though, as now we know exactly what comes out. Peach, again, yes, you have the ability to have crazy combos and everything, but after that first match against Camellia, you know what to expect for the next 2.
The other thing that Peach will really thrive in, and this might be what Stony Brook is looking for in terms of starting this kind of long road back to a first set victory here, is that Min Min, again, is a tether recovery, and Peach decimates tether recoveries, lingering aerials, the float that they can just cover off stage with, and the turnips. The turnips are just the number of angles they can cover. Just throw that straight down or straight up wherever you think the tether is going to come through when they snap to that ledge. Those options just absolutely destroy tether recoveries. So if Cody gets in and immediately knocks Min Min off stage, it is likely the stock, but they have to get in the first place here, and they have to do it twice.
Well, you're already going pretty deep into the paint here, and there's that aerial techniques that you were talking about. Cody trying to set up on the ledge, have that tournament hand, and really just deny opportunities from Camellia. Camellia looking in their own right to try and get some brutal hits back, but for right now, no real hits landing, except for Cody, 45% on Camellia.
Very back and forth between these two. Mr. Saturn pulled. Oh, I thought that could have been a shield break. That's the one thing about Mr. Saturn. That touches your shield, it is gone. It decimates shields, and so a low recovery force here because of that. Now back aired off stage once again. Good arm to intercept that one. Could have been perfectly placed to block that tether recovery. Forward smash punish, but not going to be able to take the stock quite yet. Camellia surviving at 126.
I think if that was the golf club, it would have, but that was, I think, the frying pan, you know, the launch straight up in the air, so very, very different situation. But at the current moment, a nice dance back. Camellia setting themselves up for a nice stock, but the snipes, and then a bomb in hand as well. What is this? I mean, if anything, I would have waited out the bomb, but you can't really do that. Because of that, it is going to be Camellia to eat 30.
Yeah, he'll take the trade, though. Again, you're just looking to get damage online here onto this Peach. If you can take the stock, it's massive. That's one gone. A huge one for Camellia to take. And they're still at their last stock here, so they can still potentially make this back. But the tether recovery didn't use that up B and held on to it, so they're able to make it back here, but it's still scary for Camellia.
I mean, we say scary, but Camelia's done so much work, right? This is going into, I think, the 6 or 7 stock they have taken personally here in this game, and it's going to continue, right? This set has looked so good for the side of UNCG that we haven't even seen the other two players come out. I expect to see even more so later on, and it's going to be crazy if they can take it 2-0 over the reigning champions. And right now, it feels like Camellia wants to do it on their own. Already punching up to 79. The grab to come out here from Cody, looking to try and set up that last stock. 111, hoping to get a nice snipe. Can't find it. Turnip trying to hold it steady, but a nice up smash to clear space.
A great up smash. Won't take the stock, but plenty of damage landed. This is a low recovery here. They will be able to quickly snap back to the ledge. Camellia trying to cover these options, trying to make sure that Peach isn't lingering on the ledge for too long, but not enough in the tank, and the back air will seal the deal and knock down another member of the Spartans.
I mean, you did your job. Camellia absolutely did their job, running it down all the way to 1 left, and now it's 1 stock versus 3 apiece. And the way I say that is because there are 2 more players left, 3 stocks in each of them, and that means 1 stock per 3 is what you're hoping Cody can pull off here. And that's even more dangerous, right? I'm sitting here going, Cody has got to play out of their mind to run the rest of this map. And we know UNCG, this is like their prime spot, right? They have so many other characters ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, UNCG, again, that team that brought a whole, palette of characters to the table last week. And so each member of them is, ready to step in at a moment's notice. And when you have this type of lead, you're just saying to whoever steps in, all you got to do is, take one. Just be able to, make the road easier. Just get damage on the board. If you take a stock, great. If you win it, even better. But just make sure that you're not making too many mistakes and giving them opportunities, because Stony Brook's a smart team. They'll spot those moments, they'll see those windows back, and they will go for them because they need them right now. They only have 2 stocks remaining in this last bout for them. They're on their last player, so Cody is going to be very weary and look to try and take those early stocks, and that's a chance for both sides. If they find the early advantage, then maybe they can steal a stock away. But if not, it's a chance for UNCG to get a reversal.
Well, it is going to be that Terry to come out. Moxart, one of the other subs that we talked about earlier, that and Pops, those two stepping up big for UNCG when the time called for it. In this situation, though, the combination's coming out on the fly. Cody looking to try and take a stock off the rip. This time doesn't get the snipe, but gets a good clearance, and I think that's going to be a finisher, but a nice upset there. Making sure to create space, a little bit of an up spiral aerial. Working wonders for Moxart.
That up B was everything for Moxart there to survive. Didn't know if he'd have the drift to actually make it back to the ledge. And another well-timed up B, and now Go is online. This is where things get really scary for Cody. You cannot easily approach this character anymore unless you've got a projectile in hand, and touching a shield is likely going to be their demise. Look at that, the punish comes through, but unable to get that side B all the way across. Power Geyser occupying airspace there. Not able to take the stock quite yet, though.
I mean, it's enough, right? You're getting close, but Cody is going further and further. Great snipe with that turnip, and now it's going to be another hold. It's just constant now, but again, the up B says no. 161 and counting, the two collide, and only 140 in the bucket for Cody. You can still sneak a stock. It's going to be a lot to go on. Again, the turnip's trying to create space. It looks like the wall jump could be there, but no, it's still clearing. Oh, all right, that's finally the stock.
Yeah, one off the board, but still a lot of work to be done here. And they find their opening. Oh, wow, look at the combos. Again, these aerials just so well spaced by Cody and just barely navigating the ground, but they have to land eventually, and that's when UNCG will strike. Last stock now for Stony Brook.
I mean, as much as we talked about, right, that fight constantly, it was not working in the favor of Cody, right? Cody needed a cleaner stock one in that scenario, needed a much cleaner stock take, and in this situation, I'd say it's actually up for the side of Moxart. Moxart doesn't care how they get the stock, they just care they got the stock, right? That is the baseline here. And right now, you can see this challenge from the ground and on the air. Cody's like, hey, come fight me if you can. At the current moment, it is going to be a challenge, and as soon as you touch that ground, Moxart's like, I can't do this because the Peach has so much priority.
Oh, and that's a great catch on that forward air, too. Moxart, how do they get back? Air dodge was dangerous, but they get away with it for now. Low recovery force again, no tech, and not enough vertical in that recovery, so that's going to be two stocks gone. Tie game between these two, and while UNCG do have a player left, Cody's putting in the work right now.
Keep in mind, that was a 0 to stock, I think, right? You saw Stony Brook, you saw Cody have no damage on them, so that was a brutality, if you will. And already on the ledge at 82, Moxart kind of frustrated at this one. You're about to get 3 stocks lost, but a good little punch there almost sets up for that combination. Not going to have it. Instead, it's a grab for Cody, and then a butt bump to follow up.
Low recovery here once again. Side B intercepts it. They still have their jump. They do not. That is it. Another player shut down. Cody's brought it to last member apiece.
I mean, we said if there's anyone that can pull off this run back, it would be one of the players of Stony Brook. And I think so far we're seeing Cody really come out here. Immediately, a hard shift of style. We saw it there, right? Watching that maneuver, saying, hey, as soon as I knew the Terry was coming out, I go aggro. The complete control of the lower floor and the last 2 stocks there was brutal to watch.
Yeah, I mean, this was almost a flipped script from that previous game where, you know, Cody has to be a little bit careful with how they get their approaches. But against Terry, you saw that once they were able to kind of find that airspace, find that sweet spot, because Terry, it's either straight forward or straight up. Holding that position right above them, right above their head and off to the right or left means that they can just kind of throw out aerials and cover whatever Moxart wanted to do next. And that's where they were able to find their openings. And then you saw the rinse repeat, turnip down throw, off stage. Terry's one of the few characters on in the cast that doesn't have a wall jump, so it is all on that up B and the timing of that up B to fight through that turnip, and it's just so hard to time for Moxart. So well done by Cody, well executed upon, and now they've given themselves a chance here in this opening set.
And looking down the roster for the side of UNCG, I don't think they're flustered. I don't think they're going to be flustered here because it's still 1 stock to 3. And we saw it last time as well. Moxart was like, look, I don't even have to worry. You said it right. Stock by stock by stock is all you need to worry about. In this current instance, though, you do have a hero. If you do want to bring out Pops, that is one of the players that we saw really rounded out for their team. You also got the Mewtwo and Sonic, and I think Super Sky was one that we watched in the opening of that matchup that they previously had last week. Looked phenomenal on the character, but would you actually want to take that against Cody?
It's tough here because Cody, I think, has the now agency against the rest of that cast outside of, say, the Sonic, because Sonic is just a faster character, and with that spin dash being able to weave in and out, it's tough for Peach, I think, to get a 3 stock against any of these characters, but it's certainly possible. I'm not sure which way UNCG would want to go here. I guess it depends on who they kind of think is playing with the most confidence here, because again, you do only need to take 1 stock here. I'd imagine of the 3, probably Hero's the most likely to take one just off of raw kill power. That's where my mind leans to, but I do think that speed is a concern for that matchup.
Well, I mean, your first guess was correct. It is going to be Pops to come out here on that hero. As you said, just be a kill threat. And I think this gamble situation is going to work out in their favor. As you said, the ability to just nuke that stock is of high prio, and there's no better character to do it than Hero. We've also seen what Pops can do. Pops come out with some absolute fire, just goes straight for the kill, doesn't worry about anything there, and I expect to see that here as well. Taking a look at where we're going, we are going to Pokemon Stadium 2. This is the tried and true, once again, great platforms to be able to dance between for the hero as well, depending on which spells you decide to go for. So very, very excited to see how this goes down if Cody can take 3 in a row once again.
It's going to be really difficult. Cody's got to navigate a ton of quick projectiles. That menu takes presence in this matchup to a high degree. There's so many quick kill options in that menu, and you never know which one is going to come up next. It's RNG. You got 30 different options. That neutral B could be a way to take a stock, and eventually something like a forward air or back air from Hero will do the trick. So Cody, the emphasis is on them. They have to play perfect here, and so far they are 68% quickly racked up.
Even in the chases, we're watching these two players kind of sit beside each other, and I'm surprised. That's the first that we've seen. It's only 8%er. That's going to be a problem as it keeps stocking up higher and higher. Good little jump here. It's going to be red, though, as Cody wisely sets themselves up for those blocks. Into the grab, into the throw, setting up a 116. A single hit could be the end here. A little bit over the head of Pops, and I mean, Pops is not having a good time. Gets the zoom high in the air, tries to drop down as quickly as possible, but the turnip denies their opportunity, and because of that, Cody sets themselves up with a perfect read. Up and down they go once again. 151, a single hit will take their life.
A little bit of damage here landed. This is all huge. Any extra credit they get on this stock, because they only need to take one. Bounce online means no turnips can really be used, and now the next strong hit should do it, but back air lands instead. Cody's looking for a way to take the stock. No MP, can't use that meter. They can only build it back through getting hits onto this Peach, so they have to scrap with the faster character. It's so difficult to do, but they do manage to find a grab.
I mean, that's a start, right? It's a start, and the shield is low, so now this is a chance to kind of brutalize your opponent, trying to set it up as quick as possible. That was a great hit, 115. Another shield getting close to broken, so you can't rely on that factor, but the down smash takes it for Cody. You took one, now you need 2 more.
Smart play there, just covering so many options. Cody's got to be so careful now. There's so many things that will kill in Hero's kit, especially with the power-up coming through, and up tilt covers it all, and that's going to be UNCG taking the opening set.
Solid stuff to finish off at the end, and I mean, I think you're pretty dang happy about that one. If you're taking a look at UNCG, one of the things I always like to talk about is taking advantage of mistakes, right? That is something that you really have to do. And Jintis, I hate saying this, but it had to be said. That Pichu, it looked great for the start, but the mess-ups at the end kind of cost your team the stock lead there. It was an unfortunate scenario, but Camellia and the rest of UNCG were able to fight back and really take over the rest after that a little bit of an SD. Now, the question coming up for Stony Brook is, will it happen again, right? Will that happen in the second game or not?
Well, it's interesting because Stony Brook is often the team we talk about as playing smart, playing with the advantage, playing with the lead, but it was UNCG who got that early lead, and then they were the ones who were just playing each matchup so intelligently. I mean, the fact that the Min, in a scary matchup against Pichu, was able to shut down Jintis, who is very aggressive, known for taking stocks very quickly. Camellia played fantastic, and honestly, I think the MVP of that series for the number of stocks that they were able to take. But I think it did all spawn off of that early advantage that Swift Baby was able to get, shutting down the Mega Man, who we've seen take numerous stocks and be the key factor in playoffs for Stony Brook in the past, shutting them down early, taking a stock off of the second member as well. That early advantage, very key.
I think that was Bravestar was the second to come out here on the Lucina. So, I mean, we also didn't get to see Quid, right? Quid not being rotated in here this time around. So let's go ahead and theorize, right? Let's go ahead and say you do want to put PT somewhere in there, and Quid gets a chance to step up. If you're on the side of Stony Brook for yourself, Sauce, if you're the one that is currently setting yourself up for this kind of set 2, hoping to push to a set 3, where would you actually place this Pokemon trainer? Would you still open with Vanchi, or what kind of shake-ups would you do?
I might actually lead with Quid here because you're not 100% sure what UNCG is going to lead with if they decide to lead with Swift Baby again, which feels like a decent plan. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But PT just covers a decent range of matchups and won't necessarily struggle with what a lot of UNCG brings to the table in terms of just being able to play around different styles. Quid on that Pokemon trainer can kind of play to whatever they want. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them either lead or anchor here in one of those two spots, just because they are also a player that, similar to Jintis, is not afraid to try and go for those early stocks. And that feels like the type of player that you usually put in earlier, but Quid also has that experience to play kind of like Cody, a bit safer. And so you could potentially leave them as the anchor. I would throw them in just as the blind pick because of how well-rounded they are, and you're not 100% sure what UNCG wants to lead with.
Then let's flip that on its head as well, because one player has to step out, and of course I know these players are the teams are allowed to kind of swap as they see fit. So instead of just a 4-player roster with a diversion in, I believe it is just pick which player you want to go next out of your roster, right? So my thoughts moving in would be, who would you actually see leave, right? Because let's be honest, Bravestar unfortunately didn't have a great showing there and might be looking at a little bit of revenge, try and get a little bit of their honor back. Same with Jintis, but I think both of those characters, the Lucina and the Pichu, do have kind of set positions within the roster of Stony Brook.
I think you have to leave Jintis in just for the kill threat that Pichu has. There's so many ways that that character can just outpace you in a matchup and take stocks, especially from what we've seen from Jintis in the past. And Lucina, while a very good and well-rounded character, actually I do think struggles against a lot of UNCG's characters. They're going to get outranged by the Min. They can't scrap as well as they'd like to with the Yoshi. And on the other characters, they're going to potentially lose to the range of Pops' hero as well. So it's just a tough matchup for Bravestar to be able to work around. And so I think if you're going to make a sub, that's likely where it would happen. But I also wouldn't be shocked to see, I mean, Lucina is a character that can mess up a lot of the cast. It's not like they, don't have a winning matchup here. It just feels like they have to work a lot harder to get there.
Well, they got to dig deep right now. Stony Brook are currently on the verge of getting eliminated here. UNCG one set away from moving on into those semifinals in 2 weeks. By the way, of course, we're going to go to a little bit of a short break because I think the teams are still kind of figuring out exactly what the strategies are going to be. Don't go anywhere. Nate Starley will continue in just a bit. Coming back into this quarterfinals, we're excited to see who else is going to continue on because UNCG is currently on the cusp of reaching that semifinals berth. And honestly, I couldn't say more for this NA Star League. It is so awesome to be here and be able to cast this amazing collegiate action. Of course, we have so many amazing people that have made this possible for us, so I want to give a huge shout out across the board to a lot of the amazing groups that have made this work. Truth, CDW, Alienware, as well as Pizza Hut, Extra Life, Monster Energy, Duncan, Mavix, Odyssey, Mushroom, Elixir, as well as US Army, ROTC, and then LA Comic-Con, which more information on that a little bit later on. But again, we got to get into this action. UNCG currently up 1, and we have gotten word about who the starters are. It is going to be Moxord as well as Cody. So the Terry versus the Peach once again, and this did not end well for the Terry last time.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup. I talked about earlier how Cody was able to find that sweet spot, the pocket of where Terry can't really threaten as easily, and then take advantage of Terry and that lackluster recovery off stage. But on the other hand, you saw good adaptations from Moxord, the ability to contest them in the area, in the air with the combos, getting things like up tilt into side, knocking Peach up in the air. So I'm curious what the adaptations are now that they've kind of had that first bout.
Hopefully you don't get hit off stage as often, and right now the combos are actually working in your favor. Currently 47 on the route and also trying to claim neutral ground in the center. So hey, it is gonna be that start. Also juggling in a little bit of those projectiles of your own and getting a close range look at that shield bursting through the defensive play coming out of Cody right now.
Very even off the start here. And I'm looking for, oh my goodness, another bomb, and that one's gonna land too! Oh my, gets caught running away. You can't run forever though. Cody with another snipe.
You can even see right there, that was Moxord a little bit myth that was a bomb, right? You're like, really? At that point, it was so good. Up B not gonna finish as it's a high ceiling here, but 120 is more than enough to cause some ruckus if you can find it. But again, that re-engage onto the stage is so prime picking for Cody, ringing that constantly over and over again.
Cody again holding this corner so well. Good fight back though, out of that corner from the ledge. Maybe Moxord can come up with something here. Trying to cover these options, trying to cover any over-aggression by Cody, but Cody playing patient, holding shield and waiting, knowing that he can kind of stall out. And now look at the combo off the turnip, up to 91, forcing a recovery.
My gosh!
Turnip knocked him on the stage. That's wild, and Cody converts. Stitch phase 2. Good night, goodbye, stock number 2.
That's illegal again and again, these openers. And keep in mind, this was blind. We can't sit here and say that Moxord chose this matchup, but it is just a rough one. It was a gamble play, if any, and that's going to be the stock. It is done. 2 left on Cody to go ahead and kick off his set number 2.
A JV3 unscathed on that final stock. Wow, what a performance from Cody. And I do love the play here by Stony Brook. They say, hey, Cody took a handful of stocks towards the end, nearly brought it all the way back, got them down to the last player. Why not lead with the player that's playing the hottest? See how many they can take. And they shut down the opening member of UNCG.
I'm kind of curious to take a look at UNCG. Of course, they're up, so they have a little bit of wiggle room to play with, but what was the thought of bringing out the Terry? Were you hunting for a specific opener? Was it actually looking for Swift Baby and saying, hey, maybe we can catch that Yoshi and take him out as quickly as possible as well?
Maybe. I think Terry is a decent lead just because the game plan, similar to kind of what Bravestar on Stony Brook has, it's very straightforward. Terry's going to win neutral 3 times, get you up to kill percentage, and then that 4th one will, in the right spot, kill. And Terry, if you are able to survive, has that go meter that comes online. So that comeback factor is readily available. So that's their kind of well-rounded lead that they tried to go with. But I think Stony Brook, again, leading with Cody was just a smart play because Peach, with that turnip, you see that they're able to really take advantage of the disadvantaged spots of the UNCG cast. Every one of these characters for UNCG, when they have to recover against Peach, just feels like it's a nightmare to do because of the way Cody is covering those options.
Cody has masterful play of making sure that you only really have one window of opportunity, and that window of opportunity is tiny. It's like a porthole, right? Like you're not really gonna fit through it, and if you are, it's gonna hurt no matter what. So taking a look here, taking a look down the roster, we are getting word that it is gonna be Hero to come out here. Now again, of the series that we saw UNCG play last time, it was Moxor and Pops that pretty much ran, I think, their set 2 into the set number 3. So in this instance, it is going to be an attempt by Moxor, or by Pops, I do apologize, to come back and fight off Cody.
It was pretty even in that last sequence towards the end of the opening set, but it was Cody getting the early advantage, getting a massive lead in terms of the percent, and a lot of Pops battling back. But it's similar in terms of how does Cody take stocks and how does Pops take stocks. That menu going to be ever present here, and the speed factor just being a lingering threat for Pops to deal with. These projectiles are being really well utilized by Pops right now to help kind of chip away at that potential early lead that Cody was trying to build up. They're already up to 91%.
I mean, that's a lot better than what we've seen earlier, right? Like, this is a much better start, and I give a lot of credit to UNCG. They seem to have kind of found their game plan, and even look at that. Control of the lower ground means that it's actually a drop in by the side of Cody, and Cody cannot rebuttal. You see here trying to set up that turnips combination, but can't find time to pull, and finally does. Now, you can try and go for that run of combination, but still the slashes are just too good. A little bit of sizzle, if you wish, but oomph, ready to go.
Power up is gonna do the trick there. Only works on the first hit, but it will get the job done. That up air deceptively good with that power up online, and with Accelerate also online here, they can kind of track and contest Cody in the air with that sword. The hitbox is just a bit longer. And look at this, already 29%, but they're up to 111. Make that 129. Off stage is where things get difficult. Has to use his meter to get back.
And directly into the down smash there. It is going to be Cody to try and take away 1. If you can take away 1, total of 4, that's beautiful. But if we get Pops to actually hang on to 3, that's huge as well on their own end. A little bit of lightning, not going to land. Good grab, throw it down to the ground, set up for the up air. Not going to happen. A little bit of a swirl. Now a bounce back. It's going to be a dance. You're looking at the spells, not finding it, and that's a side B to finish it. Stock 4 taken by Cody.
Big back air there. Pops really would have loved to hold on to that one, but look at that. I mean, just 1 turnip hit. That's all Cody needs, and it's 40% dealt. Back air won't be able to take the stock quite yet. Just adding to the power-ups here, lingering heavy projectile. That forward smash was risky, but won't be able to land it, and now Cody's got them off stage.
I love that call, though. You got to go for risky sometimes, especially against a player like Cody. You got to try and get those reads. You got to try and get in their brain. But unfortunately, this time around, the second attempt is not going to work. Now a little bounce out as well. And I don't think you got it. That's another stock by Cody. Cody on the verge of taking 3 here. Are you kidding me? A total of 6 would be ridiculous to start a comeback for Stony Brook.
Massive stock here. Cody's trying to find the combo starter. Does get 3-4 hits. 38% dealt in that sequence. Whack online, they don't find the hit marker on it though. They will get back onto stage, up air underneath. It will take a whole lot more for that up air to kill. They do need something strong here to connect in order to take this stock. They find a grab into the up air, or no, that was neutral air, and it still isn't enough. Great DI from Cody to survive, but he's gonna run out of time. The projectile sucks him in and knocks him off the stage.
It was tough. It was extremely tough, but they made it work. Pops wiping the sweat off their brow. If they lost 3 there as well, Cody would have gotten an immense lead for their team. Stony Brook would have been right back in the driver's seat, which technically I would say they still are. All they need to do is take 1, and they're right back to a 3-stock lead. But I mean, what really went wrong? Because these 2 matchups that we just saw were the 2 that Cody went pretty dang hard on in their set number 1. What was the thought of bringing out Hero here? Was the process proper, or was it just kind of that Hail Mary once again?
I think it was a little bit column A, a little bit of column B. In this type of matchup, we saw in that previous one, Cody really did have to work hard to try and take those stocks. But you saw that, again, Cody's combo game is so clean right now that if they get in, it's not just 40%, it feels like it's going to be 50 off the back of it. There were, towards the end, you saw Pops start to adapt and start to get out of those scenarios a bit more. But I think the problem was that extra stock loss really hurt. Pops is the type of player that really relies on that menu, and you can tell because of how frequently they're looking for zoom when they're off stage. You do have a higher, I think, percentage of, or higher chance of getting it when you're off stage, but that's another bit of MP used. And there's so many damaging moves in that kit that can kill very frequently, but Pops was only able to really land just kind of stray hits, lingering up airs underneath. And like I said, those aren't going to really kill. They'll help get MP back, but it's only going to be, you know, somewhere between 5 and 10% at best, and there's not a whole ton of knockback to that move. So Pops was really dependent on the menu, and the menu did not really help him this time around.
It was the RNG factor, right? Even in SSBU, there is a little bit of RNG depending on what character you run, and that RNG there did do them in. At the current moment, though, you still have a stock to play with, and we are getting word it is Vanchi to come back out here and try and fight off this extra stock. If they're able to do it, they will put this side of Stony Brook into really good position at a 9-6 stock lead. And then on the return, you saw the Yoshi in the back pocket, you saw the Min Min, and there's a few others as well, I think. Maybe I'm reading that wrong, actually. I think I got that backwards. Taking a look at some of the players, right? There's a lot of pieces puzzle. I did get it wrong. It is going to be that PT and Pichu in the back pocket as well as Lucina. So for the side of Stony Brook, they're looking to just have a rattling good time.
Now, I'm interested to see kind of what the thought process was, because, yeah, now that Bounce is online, a lot of Mega Man's kit just gets shut down. The Leaf Shield will not. But it means that Banshee is just going to have to scrap with the Swordy here. They are, I think, a tad bit faster, though, so it should be able to contest them pretty well. But it feels like they're playing into a matchup where Banshee certainly has to struggle a bit more. And oh my mercy! Critical hit on the up smash!
You love it. You love it. We said that there needed to be a little bit of spice to come out here, and it's working. You go ahead and take one. Now you get to bounce another or so. The closer you can get to taking all the stocks, the better. I'm looking at it right now. I don't think Banshee's really expecting this kind of faster, more aggressive play coming out here. And, you know, you watch Pops just kind of say, okay, what are you actually going to do? Are you going to charge up? Are you going to get that meter running? And right now you can't. Grab comes out. And that's going to be Banshee looking to try and finish off the stock. 99 is more than enough to complete.
Can't jump out at disadvantage there. We'll be able to use Zoom to get back. Actually ended up fighting through that move, but he misses the aerial, and it's an up tilt punish to knock down Pops.
Well done to only lose one. Vanchi going ahead and setting themselves up for success in the rest of Stony Brook as well. It's a slow move back because there's still another set after this one, but it's a great start, right? Vanchi being able to take one stock, looking for a few more on the back end, and having a very wide berth to play with. This is, I think, going to allow Vanchi to have a little bit more breathing room. Off the start, was looking a little bit frustrated, and I expect that frustration might come back as Swift Baby comes out to play, but it's the... okay, we have a little bit of leeway. If I mess up, it's not the worst thing in the world. Getting back into a comfortable play state.
Yeah, for Stony Brook, it's about, I think, sending in Mega Man there to kind of clean up a stock and just make sure that you're, getting one member off the field of play. Because that matchup does, I think, feel a bit tougher for Mega Man, but you can tell Vanchi was able to adapt and overcome and take that final stock off the board. And when you look at the rest of UNCG's cast, while the Yoshi is scary, there's a lot of characters outside of the Yoshi that Mega Man feels pretty, I guess, comfortable playing against. It would be the adjective there. So I think, yes, this kind of forces the hand of UNCG to lead now with Swift Baby, who was another player that this UNC Greensboro team puts a lot of emphasis on. There's a kind of spotlight on them and their performance in a couple of their big victories.
Well, let's see if they can do it. We have gotten word that Swift Baby is coming out here. We are going to town to go ahead and have another showdown. I think this is the exact same stage, I want to say. I might be crazy. I think this is one of the stages they did join in. So we'll see what they do. But again, a little bit of a rematch, a little bit of deja vu. We'll see what can come out of it. For the time being, though, still, it is UNCG with a full set lead, but currently with a stock deficit. If we want to see that run up, it is going to be a challenge of watching that Mega Man get taken down another 2 stocks.
Yeah, they run it back here to Town and City, so a lot of space to work with, and I think that does play to Vanshi's favor in terms of getting those projectiles out. We'll see how they adapt to that aggressive style that Swift Baby brought to the table in the first match between these two. So far, Swift Baby struggling a bit more to get in. They find a dash attack underneath, though. Not going to be able to get too much off the back of it. That forward air they made really good use of in the opening set. But now, no jump here. I think they have to... No, they end up actually just catching him being a little too aggressive here.
Ooh. Not just aggressive, both players looking for the finisher at the end there. A little bit of Lee Shield to come out, trying to set up the aerial, but the egg is going to give a little bit of a whiff, so the tail not actually getting the full damage amount, but evening it up to 80 and 90, looking a little bit higher up, 95 and then some, 101, challenging each other, sitting on a platform. Swift Baby is looking for the finisher, but can't find it. That's going to be a little bit of a charge, half charge on that forward smash.
It feels like this is an awkward game of reversals, where you both find an opening, but who will actually capitalize off the back of it? It is going to be Vanchi getting that up air, carrying them off the top of the stage, but there were opportunities for both to get a lot more damage, and then they got reversaled for. So knowing kind of your limits on these combos, I think, is really where the emphasis comes in this matchup.
Well, that's going to be a good hit. Swift Baby, though, gets caught in the electro rods, and unfortunately that sets him up for these platforms. And I mean, you can see Vanshi's just playing with their heart out right now, trying to get that right spacing. 151, and the eggs are going to keep you at bay. A little bit of a hold on the edge, great little bomb to fight off, but a throwback. I love that catch, and into the bully moment. Another stock taken away as Swift Baby is looking for one more.
So smart, recognizing once they had the Saw Blade in hand, they throw that back so that it forces a response from Mega Man, leads with the down tilt, gets the tech trap, and reads it with the down smash. So well covered there, but they are still in disadvantage. 81% now, and they gotta fight their way out of this corner. They don't find the neutral B reversal. They will be able to fight for center stage here, but they're looking for that combo starter. Instead, they'll take the damage of the forward smash, neutral air to knock them off stage once again. These eggs have done a good job of covering where Vanchi wants to occupy in terms of that recovery, and it's allowed Swift Baby to really scrap their back into this game, although they are at 115 right now. This is scary out of the corner.
Barely able to get there, but you're still dropping right in front of Mega Man, right in front of Vanchi. Good little smash, not going to find anything. A little bit of a 12 to try and create a little bit of space, and you do. Now, it is going to be Vanchi on the ledge. If you roll wrong, you are dead, but a nice little forward air to get out of harm's way. Swift Baby just wants one more hit. The tail will space it out. No more platforms in the next couple seconds. We'll fight it out. That's going to be great, but from side to side, they are going. Neither player is getting that right setup that they're hoping for. Right to the middle, both trying to charge up, and that's going to be the forward smash, forward air. It is going to be the side of Vanchi to take multiple stocks and put Swift Baby on one.
Vanchi, just so many good back airs to help clean up those stocks, just catching Swift Baby being a little too aggressive, and eventually that move will kill even from the opposite side of the stage. So the hourglass runs out, but now this should be a stock. No, they'll take the damage of the down B, but they don't get the strong hitbox, so Vanchi gets to survive here. Could spell trouble, but feels like they're working on borrowed time, and they are. Neutral air is just too strong, and it takes the final stock.
I hate the fact that I still get forward and back airs mixed up coming out of Mega Man, but it was a nice little dance there by Swift Baby at the end. It was dangerous, don't get me wrong. That was not as clean as they were hoping for. You're now down to 4 stocks total, and I mean, you're going up against some very stiff competition, but I mean, on the other side, for Stony Brook, this looks amazing, right? Vanchi not only got their revenge to a decent extent, but continued their lead forward. So very, very excited to see how the last few games here breaks down.
Yeah, 6-4, I believe the stock count right now. And with this one stock for UNC Greensboro, after that's gone, they'll be on their last member. So Stony Brook have got to be feeling confident. This is where their comfort zone is. With a lead, with a player counter pick in hand here, they can kind of play to whatever style they want. opt to go with a bit faster pace of a player? Do they opt to play a bit more defensive? Maybe they send in Bravestar here. Maybe Quid will enter. Jintis, another possibility on that Pichu. I'm not sure which way they're leaning here. Again, it feels like if they're going to send in Quid, this would be the time to do it with UNC Greensboro with their back against the wall and not too many options remaining. This feels like a good spot for him, but also it is Stony Brook with a lead, so maybe they opt to go with Jintis or Bravestar.
I mean, just have a bit of fun, right? The Lucina would be a fun one to watch. Maybe not the most optimal or anything of that sort, but it'd be entertaining to watch. Bravestar would also like a chance at redemption as well. Get a little bit of favor back in everyone's eyes. Be able to say, hey, I can take a lot. And it is going to be Bravestar. You talked about it a little bit, and now we actually do get to see this Lucina come back out and fight for the last stock, as well as the last member of UNCG for a chance to push to a set 3.
And I think, if I recall correctly, Bravestar, not only did they take a stock, I think they took the first stock when these two kind of both entered the ring. Although when Swift Baby entered, it was, they were at a stock disadvantage. But I think when it comes to opening stocks, I believe it was Bravestar to strike first and then Swift Baby to kind of clean things up in the end. So Swift Baby, a game of adaptations for them, but they're not going to have that much time to adapt here because they are only on one stock here. They have to find a way to really make some ground back, and it is not going to be easy scrapping with the sword.
Well, hopefully you come out and don't look like Sushi as you try and fight your way to stay alive and keep UNCG en route to a possible 2-0 and upset. It would be if they're able to take this off of Stony Brook. However, they will have another chance later on either way in a game 3. In the set 3, though, for right now, in set number 2, Stony Brook already sitting at 70 or 61, but you've been trading back and forth. Both characters sitting in a little bit of dangerous territory.
This is where things can get scary around the corner here. We've talked about it already. Yoshi's certainly not lacking in kill power, but Bravestar being a little bit smarter about kind of pulling back on some of these combos, not overextending as much. And they are, I think, willing to try and call out some of these short hops from the side of Swift Baby. And they are going to get this first stock too. Look at the spacing on that forward smash.
You'll never defeat me.
You called it, Soy Sauce. You said it. When these two first matched up, Bravestar was the one to take the early stock. It took a little bit for the likes of Swift Baby to actually get acclimated to the playstyle, get acclimated to the current situation, and maybe the fast-moving playstyle as well. A little bit less of those projectiles and more of just the straight-up face smashing. At the current moment, it is 6 stocks to 3 as UNCG are down to their last member. And, of course, I think we kind of know who it's going to be, but it is going to be Camellia coming out here on that Min.
And again, similar to the first set, right? The Lucina gets locked in, UNCG get the counter pick, and it is the Min. And it's going to be a very long road here for Bravestar to try and get something off the board. But anything they get is just gravy on top because or at least they still have a member waiting in the wings if Bravestar is unable to take down Camellia here. But Camellia, I mean, the way they've been playing, it felt like, okay, this was the right choice. Save them as the anchor because of the coverage that they have, the options they can cover. And against Bravestar on this Lucina, again, feels like a similar type of game plan. Just wall out the player that likes to wall people out. You have the range advantage. You have the potential to kill very early. You also have the potential to get those edge guards like you did against Jintis.
Not just that, the last two these two met up. It was very rough for the Lucina. So Bravestar also looking for a bit of vengeance, for a little bit of redemption, and this all starts here. For right now, though, Camellia realizing that they do have to play a little bit more safe, right? Using those elongated appendages, making sure that they are forcing the fight far and far away for them. A good grab, go ahead, lay down the damage, currently untouched, as it's 84 and counting against the side of this Bravestar. Camellia still looking for another finish, 13.8, higher and higher. You can get a stock before it's even touched, and it is! That's gonna be it, Bravestar down 1.
So this was initially good adaptation by Bravestar to use these platforms to their advantage, forcing Min to jump and commit that kind of aerial presence, but they get caught out for it instead in that sequence, and that laser can kill so early, and that's where stock number 1 gets dropped. Great job there by Camellia to be able to follow up and just keep this Lucina to the corner.
Not only that, there hasn't really been an answer. You take a look at the current percentage right now. Camellia sat at a very nice 55, and you can see the percentage count currently rising against. It's really only been these chip fragments, either a grab or an up tilt or a forward or back tilt, and anything of that nature. It's just a problem. Finally, another grab, but you still can't set it up again. These chip fragments from Bravestar are not working.
Yeah, the combo game for Lucina isn't very extensive. It's usually 1 or 2, and off of grabs, you don't get too much. I love the idea to try and cover that recovery by dipping down low with Min, but that timing is so difficult to execute. They get knocked off the ledge once more. Should still be able to recover. They don't get hit on that 2 frame, so they will make it back, but this stock is working on borrowed time, you feel like. But maybe they can get one back here, as Min is up to 108. Camellia landing there was smart, trying to cover this platform potentially. No, goes for the neutral air, and up he had a shield. Fast option to knock them away.
Oh my lord, and it felt like that was an opportunity, right? A little bit of a whiff there. Now on the edge, both trying to challenge, but instead it's a sword to the back as Lucina is going to fight Bravestar, looking for that final hit. If you can find another up B, trying to find a little bit of collateral damage, and still 158 right now on Camellia, now trying to run to the center, get a little bit of space between the two. The swordsman now on the rope saying, how do I actually enter this without losing my stock? You jump in, and again, another up B. Quicken and shield, but it's a neutral air. No death just yet, but enough to push him far off. Covering high, covering medium, not covering inside.
Both players trying to play so carefully here. The stock matters so much.
Oh my gosh.
Neutral air still not going to kill it. 144. Great DI from Bravestar.
There it is.
They won't be able to get off the ledge, though. Running out of time on that invincibility, and they get caught standing up. So that's going to be 2 stocks gone here, but you do have this agency as Bravestar. You've got that stock to play with. If you can take this off the board, it will put you in such an advantage for that final set, and they will find the opening. Back air will knock down the first stock of Camellia.
You're hoping to take one more, right? This started at an even 3-3 in this game specifically, so you don't want to kind of go down 2. You don't want to leave that last to a 3-2 situation. So we're going to see a little bit of forward momentum, but again, stopped at the front door. This is Bravestar just constantly getting checked over and over and over again. These small little poke pieces on the upper ledges working in the favor. Now a slide out, and then the turnaround well spotted by Camellia to get those dances. Now onto the edge goes Bravestar. Has to drop back down, has to wait out that charge.
87% here on this final stock. How do they get out? They try and air early, but they get caught for it, using their jump as well. They'll be able to snap back to the ledge. They get their jump back. They're trying to fight their way out of the corner, trying to get any bit of damage onto this Min, but it's just so difficult. They get walled out on the platform. Low recovery force yet again. Double jump used here. They get in, get a grab. Won't be able to land the up air. Well, we'll get the falling one though. But there's just no easy way in. How many times can you cycle through neutral? Good idea here with the down air. They do get something with the back hit, and they find the forward smash. They catch the jump in, and Bravestar, although they dropped stock, they got one in return.
It doesn't matter what happens. You won in the end. You did what you were supposed to do, right? Taking a look at Bravestar, we were worried that it was going to settle at a 2 stock going into that final round. We were scared. I was scared personally. I don't know about anyone else, but I mean, if you're up 6-3, it would feel so bad to drop down to a 3-2. Like, I know that doesn't seem like a whole lot, but to drop down to a 3-2 feels way worse than dropping down to a 3-1. 3-1 is fine, right? Like, that's easy to do. In this situation, it was honestly a little bit of a mistake by Camellia. You saw a little bit of a taunt, trying to move forward, trying to get a bit greedy, and just that little tip of the sword, able to slash and get it. Such a moment right there.
We talked about it too. Stony Brook is a team that if you overextend at all, they will find those reversals eventually. And it was a game where neither player kind of the opposite of that Mega Man Yoshi set where reversals were the name of the game. No one could find a reversal here. Just those hitboxes, too awkward, too short, too long to actually be able to connect. But finally, they catch one small overextension, and you could tell Bravestar was starting to get antsy. They only had so much time left on that stock. It just kept trending into the red for them. But they find that one window, they find that forward smash, they find the jump in, and they eliminate that second stock from the board. And now this final member of Stony Brook, it's a must-win scenario, but all they have to do is take one Min stock.
And they use the largest variety character. We were talking about it before. Do you put him at the opener or the anchor? It is going to be at that anchor. It will be Quid on this Pokemon trainer to close things out. And I have no doubt. In my mind right now, Quid will have it. I hate saying that because it's a 3-1, you know, all that stuff. We have to, right? Quid has all the opportunities in the world. And not only that, Camellia likes to play a little bit safe. We saw it before. It doesn't really have that overall aggression. And, of course, that's just Min in general. I'm worried about the pacing, right? So I'm expecting a set number 3 to come out here. I'm expecting a follow-through and another rematch between all of these players.
I'm expecting a lot of Squirtle and Ivysaur in this matchup here, because all you need is one stock, and at even 0%, Squirtle being a small hitbox could be really difficult for Min to potentially track down, and Ivysaur has easy ways in by using that Razor Leaf to their advantage. On top of that, the edge guard game for Ivysaur could help clean up a stock as well, because it's a second tether recovery, and that kind of mind game of who snaps first actually loses for the ledge trump. So I think while it is trending in Quid's favor here, I think you do lean towards the lighter side of the cast. I'd be surprised to see a lot of Charizard until you get up to probably 90-ish% here. But it all comes down to this for Quid. Can he find this early stock?
Well, at the current moment, it feels great, right? 54 off the rip, off the first engagement, and now even higher. The speed, as we were talking about, really putting in some work, trying to push Camellia into bad territory, and I think it's working, right? Already has a number, quick little chips. Looking at the smash, high recovery coming here from Camellia, but that's gonna be a nice parry. Extra damage, 87 right now.
Off stage once more. Low recovery force, good down air. Now the switch to Ivysaur. This is where that kill power starts to come online. Love going for those early up Bs. Doesn't find it that time around. Dancing around the platform too. That's the Quid classic, but won't be able to find the opening quite yet. A parry with a laser. That is crazy. I wasn't sure if that hitbox was even going to come out, and they were ready for it. They do get caught here, so they have to switch to Charizard, and they will be able to make it back. And they find a back air too. Great movement from Quid to lock down this series.
Quid comes in just to clean up and says thank you very much here in the varsity premiere. And that's what we want to see, right? The strategic value that comes out of Quid putting in at that anchor cannot be denied. It is very, very strong, but, you know, also heads up to the side of UNCG, they fought hard, right? And I think both these teams have started to identify that whoever opens is, like, the one to watch here, because so far the openers has whoever's won, I think has taken at least 4. They've always been able to take an extra off the back end, and they never really shied away and fallen even in the early, like the opening game. They've always come out with at least 2 stocks. Like, this is, the openers really dictate the entire pace right now, more so than I think in other series.
Yeah, both teams have really benefited from being the aggressor, being the team in the lead. Very hard to mount comebacks in this type of format because, you know, you have to, you know, play against counter picks time and time again. And UNCG have worked around it through substitutes at times, but Stony Brook, they're able to just command these sets where they get these early leads, and they've got such firepower in their pockets with the number of characters that they play and the types of styles that they can flex themselves to. It makes this matchup really intriguing for round number 3.
All right, well, we'll have to see what round 3 has to offer. The teams are going to get a little bit of break, and so will we, because we got to figure out exactly who's facing off in the openers. We've had 2 on either side, unique openers so far. Let's see if we get 2 more. Don't go anywhere. Nate Starley, we'll be right back. And we are back because the teams couldn't wait any longer. Let's get into it. We were wondering if we got any unique setups, and no, it's running back to the two dominant players that opened up here. It is Swift Baby into Cody.
I love the idea, right? Play with the players that are playing the hottest right now. And that's these two. Swift Baby on this Yoshi, trying to contest in the air with Cody's aerials. And right now, doing a fantastic job of doing so, as they were at a deficit, and now they've worked their way back to even, 74 to 77 on that.
And it's only going to climb higher right now. Swift Baby hoping to get a little bit of a turnabout play. The setup is not there, though, as that's going to be an up smash. Beautifully done by Cody to deny any sort of inside track. Good little throw as well, keeping Swift Baby on their toes. This is continuous, by the way. Swift Baby excels at getting these quick little snaps off, the same at Cody. So both of them are playing the speed game right now. And the current win is going in favor of Cody as they get the butt bounce. No stock yet, but close enough.
Been looking for that down B all day, and he just has not been able to find the strong hitbox of it. Here he finds a forward air, though. Ooh, good pressure with that egg throw, and the shield at the last second. And I love the patience here, but he actually backfires upon it. Cody holds strong defensively and takes the first stock.
Now keep in mind, to keep this pretty much the same as in their previous opening matchups, they would have to take all three and hang on to 2 apiece. At the current moment, Cody is on track 150 just about, and if you can push up about, I would say 50, that's great, right? You're able to get a much better read on that second stock. At the current moment, though, 43 and counting. This is going to be a little bit of a fun challenge. Great down smash. The spike takes that stock.
Forward air fighting through the turnip there, able to still connect on Cody's recovery of that jump from ledge. We're actually able to crouch around a forward smash too. This is a ton of damage for Swift Baby to rack back up to help cut into the lead that Cody has built for themselves. But now Cody's got Yoshi off stage. Swift Baby will be able to back though. Another forward air in. That's where Swift Baby has earned back a lot of this ground, is finding these neutral Bs and these forward airs. You saw nearly a shield break too. He's starting to find the spacing on it.
And Cody should be a little bit scared, realizing that they're getting red a little bit. Now a little bit of float along the ground, trying to snap out with the turnips. Not going to happen just yet. And these eggs, these golds are actually very, very scary. We're seeing it time and time again. Shields out in the middle, trying to play for a little bit of space. They both realize they both have kind of kill percentages right now. It's going to be a grab. Another boot to the face. Swift Baby has been using this consistently. It's like their default setup to try and boot Cody out. And that's it. Are you kidding me? They didn't have the up B.
They didn't have their jump. They thought they did, and then they didn't judge the distance of that up B correctly, so they forfeit a stock because of it. I believe. Oh no, what a snipe. And Stitch Face pulled as well. So this is last stock apiece here, and we talked about it. These early advantages have meant so much. Oh my goodness, though. 2 hits of Stitch Face, and all of a sudden Swift Baby's up to 70. Make it 102 off the grab combo.
I mean, both these players were also playing very, very difficult, and that's it! Are you kidding me? Another misjudge! By a hair's breadth, Swift Baby is granted a win over Cody.
Oh my goodness. And Cody was starting to run away with that stock thanks to the Stitch Face. I mean, a 75% combo in a second. That's how long that combo was. And then you saw them get aggressive, go off stage for that aerial. They were looking for the forward air, but they used their double jump to get up there and challenge Yoshi up high. Hard to cover Yoshi because of the vertical play that jump covers from Yoshi. So they get up there quickly, have to use their double jump, and then just barely miss space that up B. While you do get a lot of distance, it's not the best when you have to kind of fade back. You saw that they were facing away from the stage. The up B carries you away, and thus they aren't able to turn around and snap back to the ledge. So an unfortunate sequence, but one that UNCG will gladly take.
It's, you know what, as we said, mistakes upon mistakes. They can have mistakes, but you have to learn how to capitalize on top of them. It is not a situation where, hey, you know, we just got a mistake, cool, let's just keep doing our gameplay. No, you got to play around this. Now, you have to make do with what you have, and in this situation, Swift Baby is sitting there so pretty. Now looking on the other side, Stony Brook have to be sweating right now. As much as they are the reigning champions, they've gone through very clutch moments as well, even in the grand finals of last semester, right? They have specifically gone through a clutch moment where it was down to last stock for Banshee. this one I think is a little bit more terrifying. We've seen both teams now go off on tears, specifically Camellia, if given the right opportunity, can take a hard run with multiple stocks off of Stony Brook. Who do you send out here? Who do you decide for Stony Brook to send out against this Yoshi and the one to follow?
It's tough. I'm not 100% sure what you want to do here, because you could lean towards if you look at the cast that we've seen, you've seen the Lucina, the Pichu, and the, which character am I forgetting here? With the Peach gone. Oh, Quit on the PT. I think, knowing that you just need one stock, I think you actually lean towards Bravestar here, because Bravestar, while they have struggled to Camellia in particular, you haven't really gotten to see them against the rest of the cast. And while it would kind of suck to play the same matchup 3 times in a row, let's be honest, you'd like some variety in these types of matchups. At the end of the day, you just need one stock to get things back to even, and we've seen Bravestar time and time again get the early lead and secure it on Swift Baby. So I think I'd lean towards the well-rounded Lucina and take the even matchup, then dip, and if it goes, because the other ones seem a little bit more double-edged sword in my opinion.
Right, and I would agree with that one. Same with the fact that Jintis is really the other interim that we see, right? That kind of bridge between second and third and fourth. Jintis has not had a great time either right now. I hate saying that because I love the Pichu combos that have come out. When Jintis is on one, Jintis is great. At the current moment, kind of low on the fire, so you want to get Jintis a great matchup if you do keep that Pichu in the roster. So I gotta agree with you. Go out with Bravestar, take that last stock, and just kind of eat what comes next, right? Just try and take it on the cheek and then try and play out from there. At the current moment, though, I want to go ahead and double check because I, of course, know that we have the insider information. We can stop speculating here. It is actually going to be the Mega Man to come out here. Instead, they're going to throw a hard hitter, which this is another side of it. Vanchi has been a solid player to start as well, but it also kind of sits there and tells us, I think, no, actually, this will be a difference because remember, every time the answer has been up for UNCG, it's actually been the Yoshi. So I like this turnaround now from Stony Brook.
Yeah, I like this pick too, because remember in the last set these two played just not too long ago, it was a lot of kind of a game of reversals that no one could really quite find. It was a lot of the overextensions causing punishes. So I think the way that this match type kind of paces out, once again, Swift Baby is the aggressor going in, finding forward air combos, or at least that's been their surprisingly consistent combo starter. But Vanchi's pretty solid defensively. If they get Razor, if they get the Leaf Shield online, if they're able to shut down, stuff out a couple of the aerial approaches that Swift Baby likes to do with things like up air, they can land up tilt and potentially get kills off the back of it. We saw them rack up consistent damage, so it's going to be interesting to see how it paces out, but this one stock means so much for UNCG.
You are hoping for this play from Swift Baby to bring about a turnabout. You want to grab multiples off of this Mega Man. You want to be that bully once again that we've seen earlier on. But already at 64, it's not looking great. It feels like Vanchi has a pretty good handle after the first 2 meetings of how you want to play. We're talking about a little bit me getting my mix-ups all over the place with those forward airs and back airs. And I mean, you were talking about the mix-up, the spicy mix-ups that Vanchi has been throwing down here.
Yeah, Vanchi's been very good at kind of beating a couple of UNCG players to the punch in terms of those back airs that they're throwing out, because it's sort of a backwards approach, right? You're turning your character around, but still approaching and throwing out that back air. And that's where a lot of UNCG likes to try and find their way in, is in that spot, in that short hop area where they're trying to approach it, especially Swift Baby, who loves to get those forward airs. So the fact that they're beating them to the punch of the back air is so good. But right now at 143, you gotta wonder how much time Swift Baby has on this stock. Can they get anything back here? They got up to 77%. Yoshi with Rage, not shy of kill power, but can they hold on?
I mean, right now, this is actually the space. That's going to be not a back here, but a forwarder to finish it. And this is actually very, very good for Stony Brook, right? They were able to kind of turn things around here. And I love the fact that you were able to touch on the fact that Vanchi has been able to be a little bit different, right? Be able to space out. And again, when it comes to the forward air and back air, forward air hits a little bit harder, but has a smaller hitbox in terms of the horizontal. So I think that's the main priority, right? You dove into it a little bit more. And now we get to see a side of UNCG try and fight it out. Because we got to talk about, you know, who's coming next. The fact of the matter is the answer has always been for Vanchi, bring out Switch Baby. I think that was always the matchup that they were kind of hunting for. You have to look down the line for UNCG. What do you bring out against Mega Man? Because Vanchi has held their own or more so against the other players at Stony Brook in the previous games.
Yeah, and I think that when you look at UNCG with Swift Baby out, it's going to be difficult for them to try and find that really solid counter pick, but I do believe they locked in Camellia moments ago, and Camellia makes a lot of sense for kind of the same reason that they were able to shut down Bravestar numerous times. They just have the range advantage against a projectile character. And it's not going to be easy, though, because once Vanchi gets in with the pellets, potentially with the saw blade, unless there's a quick action really taken by Camellia, you're going to have to be pretty proactive in this set, because that's what Vanchi has really done with things like that back air that I was talking about moments ago. They're beating them to the punch by being proactive about it, reading the play before it happens. And Min will have control of the pace of the game here, but if they can see where this Mega Man wants to position themselves in this sort of mid-range, they can take stocks very quickly and take another early lead.
Mixing in those grabs as well is going to keep Cody on their toes, right? You're trying to shield, trying to go for those blocks, but the animation is so fun to take a look at. Right now, the forward slashes, though, making it work, and then into the back here. So this is Camellia trying to create a little bit of space, but getting chased constantly. Good neutral air, spacing themselves out. Reflector, kicking it back. Okay. Having a little bit of a song and dance.
Ooh, that actually takes the stock there. I don't think Vanchi was fully ready for that to kill, and maybe a little bit of suspect DI, but it's something that UNCG will gladly take one off the board here, and they can start working on this second stock. Vanchi doing a pretty good job of being just barely out of grab distance and still navigating the arms well, as they've got Camellia to the corner here. Tries to go for a cheeky edge guard, but they will get the call out on the landing. Up tilt takes stock one.
All right, we did say, you know, hey, we know what Camellia can do, but this is a matchup that I think the Mega Man is going to be more than happy about. Vanchi currently getting a stock up in this three stock situation. Now looking for a second behind, and good forward airs to keep them on their toes. 47 already wrapped up in Camellia. Min trying to create a little bit more space, trying to take this last stock, or trying to take this first stock. I do apologize, 98% and above.
Off stage once more. High recovery, had to go high there, Camellia did, and well done to get over back to that ledge in time. When you're playing against a character that owns center stage as well as Min does, you have to make your edge guards count, and that's what Vanchi's doing right now. Keeping this Min to the corner best they can, and the moment they're off stage, hover low. Make them uncomfortable, because that's where errors come through.
Those are errors that we can't really watch for right now. 129, no real finisher coming out of Camellia. They're hunting for it, but on this edge, it is going to be a little bit of slap on the back of the head to take the stock from ground to air.
Megawatt in air kills so surprisingly early. It's such a slow, lingering hitbox, but it's just got so much knockback to it, and it's not always out. That back air will seal away the second stock of Camellia, so once again, a tie game, and it is just neck and neck between these two. You do have to wonder, though, who will find this advantage, as it is Camellia holding center stage, getting some good damage, but now Vanchi gets in. They're looking for the forward air. They're able to find one hit, but that's all. And now Camellia able to scrap their way out of the corner, gain themselves a decent percent lead, but Vanchi, again, able to find a window and punch right back.
I mean, they're trying, but again, that stop punch on the up B actually spelled their own disaster. You take a look at the damage control, now going back with the stop blade of their own, but again, those little taps, those lasers come out, it's something that Banshee is having trouble kind of converging on. Right now, trying to get in the space, trying to chase behind, and now going in within arm's reach, but a short blow coming out. Chameleon will be able to finish it off. No, it's not. The heavy set Mega Man, surprisingly heavy, if you will, is going to stay alive. That's another try and finish, but it's not going to happen. Maybe third time's the charm. One more hit. A slam should do it. There it is. 3 strikes and you're out.
Oh, it was hard fought. Banshee did their best, but the hourglass was just ticking away. Can only find so many unique ways out of the corner, and eventually you have to land on stage. And Camellia, the switch to the megawatt set that all up, just cleanly crouching, switching, and it's a change that happens in a fraction of a second. You can barely see it happen because you're already focused on being off stage on recovery. But in that instant, Megawatt comes through on the change, hits them off once, resets the scenario, and it's rinse, repeat. And that's the power of Mega Man, Min Min, excuse me. Stage control, controlling distance, and these characters like Mega Man who are built for that mid-range type of battle just really struggle to work their way out of the corner.
They lose what feels like 30 to 40% of the kit, and it was well done. Now, granted, Banshee able to take 2 on the back end means it's still very, very close. It is very much either side's games. We know both these teams do like to excuse me, run multiple stocks off of each other, right? You're taking a look down the line. I mean, Stony Brook is well known to take 4 or 5, but at this current moment, UNCG are going to try and do it. Camellia is going to look to take more than 3. It's actually going to be looking for 4 and 5, but you're up against very stiff competition. It is going to be Quid on that Pokemon trainer, not the anchor this time as well. It is going to be that 3rd round draft for them. Let's see what they can do.
Well, Quid hasn't had much time today, has only had to take 1 stock of Camellia before, and now they have the same task here to try and do it again to get things back to even. But you saw that they had pretty solid control of that first game. While there were moments where you felt like, okay, you're starting to land some punches back onto this PT, at the end of the day, the ability to change playstyles, change the hitboxes, and weave around Quid's movement, especially around platforms, is just so expertise. It is just a whole nother gear to try and deal with. And while Min Min does cover platforms well, it is just a struggle to deal with that pace of play, especially with Quid starting on Squirtle, on the Ivysaur, which have such agency to break through the neutral.
Button check going on for Quid. Said, all right, I'm good. Let's round this out. Charge up of the water, keeping that spacing very, very well done. And remember, this is actually the water gun has actually done a lot of work, I have to say, for Quid being able to force Camellia into rough territory. But great start here on the rip, 35% and then some, keeping that mid to long range space. And all of a sudden, it is PT to just say, nah, we ain't playing this game right now.
And it pushes them back to the corner too, that water gun. And it immediately gives Quid a chance to fight for stage control. So it's sort of a trump card in terms of being able to reset the neutral. And right now, the speed of Squirtle knocking this Min Min off stage, but unable to quite capitalize off the back of it. Now fighting for center stage, and those grabs come through. Won't be able to catch the jump out of the corner though. Tried to scout that out, but unable to. I wouldn't be surprised to see a switch come here soon, because 64%, Min Min hits hard. One strong forward smash could do the trick, and they're still searching for it, but they won't quite find it.
I mean, there's a switch that you were talking about now to that Ivysaur, and a headbutt will finish it. No, still pretty heavy there. Charizard, though, saying let's end it with one swift blow. Shields up straight to center stage, but now it's available. This is going to be Min Min trying to punch hard on the edges, and I think this is where actually Min Min is quite happy, right? A little bit slower character, a little bit more ability to catch them off guard, and it's working here. And that's going to be the punch because of the swap to Charizard. It's going to be a sock. Min Min grabs one off.
Quid took a risk and it didn't pay off, but he still might be able to clean this one out. Yup, that Razor Leaf connects and the up B is just too far away. Down airs into the blast zone, and Quid eliminates member number 2 of UNCG.
Still though, again, as we said, small mistakes. These very small fractional mistakes will start adding up, and we can already see it, right? Number one was in the early openers. One stock gently gifted over by accident. That has started this cataclysm. Again, it might not mean that much, but it's just, I feel like Quid is just like, I could have had 3 running in. I could have had 3, and that is going to gnaw at the back of your mind if you're not able to take 3 here.
Especially if they end up losing this series because of it, but there's still a ways to go before we reach that point. Next member of UNCG locked in. Looks like it's Moxort on the Terry, who's going to step into the ring. And this, I like the idea here, but again, it feels very double-edged swordy because Terry, while they do thrive in terms of winning neutral a handful of times and getting kills very early off the back of it, they should be able to kill Squirtle very early. They should kill Ivysaur very early. If they get knocked off stage, PT just owns this matchup, and they can do such a good job of keeping Terry to the corner. Razor Leaf, there's just no answer for Terry on that projectile. So that is just something they have to jump around, and the aerial game leans in PT's favor. So this is a very careful matchup that you have to play if you're Moxort, but we've seen them come up with unique ways to adapt. Think of the very first set we saw them play against Cody. While they dropped it, they were finding unique combos like up tilt, nair, side B to get that early damage on lock.
I think the best way to put it is this is a gamble, right? This is a little bit of a gamble to see if Moxort is able to come out with a beating, and if not, then hey, you threw caution to the wind. But I think that's the type of gamble you have to take if you're in the playoffs, if you're looking to go on to those semifinals. You have to take that risk. It is going to be the Terry. It is going to be Moxort as valiantly swapping between. I love it. It's so much fun. All right, let's get underway. It may be deja vu for the stage, but it's a brand new matchup for Moxort.
And so far, it's going to be Quid getting the early combos. 37 immediately keeping this Terry off stage. I'm not sure if they have their jump yet. Oh, that was a huge down B to get out of the corner. They tried to catch a panic roll there with that forward smash read, but Quid, wise to it, just holds shield and is able to reset the scenario once more. Moxort, about how do they get in? Do they catch Quid overextending, or do they find their own openings? There's a good conversion. They find Nair, but there's a jump gone here. There's a potential for an early stock here for Quid.
Able to recover here. You're okay. You're okay. Oh, but there's the brutality coming out here. Again, this is the spike that you like to see. Stock taken away as the gamble on Moxort might not be working exactly like they wish.
Not quite. Knocked off stage, and again, that Ivysaur down air, just so massive. And we saw it in that Cody set too. It's all vertical recovery or all horizontal, and it's very committal, whichever one they do, so it's easy for Quid to follow up upon. So it's about Moxort holding center stage right now, best they can. And right now they are struggling to do so. Now that the Ivysaur is on, all of these hitboxes are hard to navigate. Now maybe an opening, they go for power dunk, but Ivysaur, good DI by Quid to get out of that combo. They'll be able to survive here. 118, you're looking for a strong hit here. You're looking for a down tilt or a jab, but they just can't get in. They're getting walled out by the range of Ivysaur.
Yeah, those ranges are a problem because of that. You're looking for those extra opportunities, right? Just that simple little snap, the extra little hit, and that's going to be a little bit of a difficult time because you predicted wrong, and now that Charizard takes a second. It is going to be 2 in a row so far without an answer from Moxort finally responding on their own, but you're down to 1 stock apiece.
1 stock apiece here. This is where things can get dangerous for both sides. Again, we talked about having the lead being so key for both these teams. Who will drop to their last member first here? A tech comes through in an odd spot for Quid, but they're able to turn this around. Terry off stage, but he will be able to air dodge back down to that platform. You're looking for 1 solid combo. Don't let Terry touch the ground is the name of the game for Squirtle. He will let him do so, but he's got the early combos and the early damage is there. Look at the aerial presence. Again, the speed of this Squirtle putting in so much work.
And now you control where Terry lands. There is not a single chance. It's going to be a grab. Follow up behind, and now you got him on the edge. It's exactly how it finished last time. You're looking for the spike. Don't get it just off the rip. But that's going to be a very nice counter. Go ahead and get yourself back to center stage. It's going to be touch and go from here, pun intended. Ivysaur wants one Vine Whip to finish it off. A good grab, but no, a rebuttal again and again and again. This is Quid trying to put the finishing touches on this round. 164, 173. Are you gonna make it happen? Mogsword sits right on the ledge, not grabbing it. The dangerous spike, but that's gonna be the spike. No, you cut through it. Oh my God, the guard can't get through the Vine Whip though. It is gonna be Quid to survive.
Quid comes up clutch again, and he gives Stony Brook the lead on the last chance there, on the last stock. And again, look, Quid missed the down air twice. He had the first stock with the down air. He missed it twice on the last stock, so maybe some last stock jitters, but you can't give him 3 chances. And then the tech comes through, which was an incredible tech. The timing of that had to be perfect, and somehow Mogsword was ready for it, but just not enough. Able to up B back, and Quid was ready for it. Pressure on the platform. You have to do something to get out of the corner, and just too much panic and chaos for that Terry to deal with at that high of a percent.
I don't even think Terry really had any options out either, right? Like, you take a look at all the options that were currently available. What did you have left? Maybe a spot dodge? Other than that, like, you're kind of dead in the water. So at that point, I mean, it looked pretty. But Mogsword, you needed some early presence, right? In this round, you needed to trade out stock 1 for 1 at the early stages, fall back to that last one in a 2-1, and then you could drop another. So a little bit of a rough spot, but well played. I mean, honestly, I think that was more just Quid going out of their mind bonkers in that series. And now we get a look at the last player. It is gonna be Hero, calling on a Hero to try and make it work. Pops is gonna try and take 4 off of Stony Brook.
It's going to be really difficult to do, though, because the way that Quid is playing, especially, I have to commend, when we look at Pokemon trainers, there's usually like, okay, they are so clean on the Charizard, or, you know, one or the other is playing well, but Quid is so well-rounded, and in particular today, his Squirtle is just on point. So good at executing the low percent combos and knowing exactly when to cut them off, when to pull back, because we've seen throughout today, knowing when that combo is over is vital to your success, and Quid knows exactly where that line is, and he has executed it well, and against Hero, those combos will come online very early again.
Let's see the combinations. Both players are ready. Taunts are out and a full charge coming out, or at least mostly charged up here for Pops. Of course, Pops getting eaten up a little bit here. Same rebuttal back. And it's going to be the Squirtle to try and keep pace. Both characters trying to speed up, a little bit of power up on that Hero. But the ground game is again going to go in the favor of Quid. Good 3 hits. Nothing more behind. Only 43% on Hero.
Again, just navigating the menu, looking for any power-ups. Oh, they tried to get an early stock there. If Quid didn't jump, that was absolutely a stock gone. That neutral B, so damaging, so much knockback. Oh, but he misses a grab. We'll get it back, though. This is where things can get tricky. That Ivysaur can cover so much, and once you use that up B as Hero, there's not a lot of space to kind of float around to. Should be easy for Quid to track down, but here comes Quid with another grab. Zoom used early, doesn't find the up air though, so surviving on this stock is vital to UNCG's success.
And a very nice exchange in the air goes the way of Pops. You needed that one, right? You need to keep that Ivysaur on the edge. You need to keep that space for yourself, but you can't. Great up B, or up air. It was so good. Again, that powerful blow from the Ivysaur works wonders. 2 stocks left on Pops, but you need to contain both. If you go down to 1 stock, you know exactly what Stony Brook are ready to do.
105 on this Ivysaur. Should be able to take the stock relatively soon. But you do need the opening, and Quid is just not letting you have it. Look at the damage off that combo. Playing on the platform so well. Up B nearly killed Zoom. We'll take them to the opposite side of the stage here, but now you have to be so careful if you're Pops. Oh, this is an early air dodge. And look at the pressure lingering there along the ledge. And he catches the jump with the up air. Quid turns the dial up to 11.
Quid does not want to have to go to player number 4. Already on the edge. Are you finishing it here? Oh my god, if you catch him on that ledge, that would have been it. 35% right now. It is so close. 105 currently on Quid, but Quid is not letting up. That's going to be a dodge down on the ground. Almost a grab. You almost called him out on the frames, but it's not going to happen. Another throw on the edge, looking for a spell, trying to get up, and a good option read. Looking for that up again, but it's a spike. It's done. It is over. Quid runs 3 in a row.
With their backs against the wall, Quid says no, not today. No comeback for you. Quid on the Pokemon trainer locks it down. What a series and what a showing. Again, we rarely got to see him today, but when he stepped into the ring, he answered every possible question. There was no doubt what he came here to do, and he came here to get the W.
He said, hey, we've seen some mistakes before, but we're going to run it back. We are still the kings here, and as long as we have one stock, we will hang on to our crown. Huge props to UNCG, though. They fought hard, pushing the reigning champs into a corner, close to in a set number 3. It was interesting to watch, and I'm more than excited to see what UNCG have to offer in the future. I really want to see what else they can do. At the current moment, though, I believe we are going to go to a quick break because we want to see if we can get an interview in with one of the Stony Brook members to get their thoughts on their previous matches and how this season is going up against the previous matchups that they had. Please don't go anywhere in a Star League. We'll be right back. And we're back. Of course, this is not an interview. Because the other match did run a little bit further, we are going to get straight into the next series. We have an amazing time here as we take a look at the schedule. This is the other side of the bracket. Taking a look here, we are going to be watching the ever so amazing Oakland going up against Manchester, and these two have quite a bit of history. These two teams have actually played in the past. We got some insider information that Manchester saying Oakland is the only team to have beat them, I believe, in the regular season. So this is a little bit of a test for them.
Yeah, 0-2 so far, and they're looking to get their vengeance here in the playoffs, and what a time to do it. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row, so we're expecting a good, close, and fun matchup between these two. And Manchester, they're riding a high. They were a 12 seed that got the opening round upset against North Dakota State in the opening round of our top 16. So they're going to be kind of riding that momentum into this matchup against a tough and stout Oakland team.
And Manchester has some of the more unique character picks as well. We got some insider information, just taking a look at what they got. And I mean, I'm excited to see a Diddy Kong. I have not seen one in quite some time, at least personally. Of course, I play, Lil Max, so every character feels new to me. We also have a Piranha Plant and then Kazuya, right? Kazuya, of course, racking up those wins kind of all over the place and just being a bully in some senses. But they have a very deep roster of characters to pick from.
Yeah, and a lot of flexibility, too, in terms of the play styles, right? Kazuya's got a very high ceiling and can output a lot of damage, but can also kind of act as your tanky character that needs to just hold on to survive and help you close out a series. So Diddy Kong, I think, is going to be interesting to see where they slot into the lineup, because Diddy Kong is sort of along the veins of Pichu and Pikachu, where it's like this is a light character that could die very early, but the combo game and the presence of stage control that they have is just, it is overpowering at times. So to see where they try and fit that matchup in could be interesting. It'll be a very fun kind of dynamic to watch for with the matchups that these teams and schools like to look for. As we saw in that previous matchup, playing around the characters that you have and seeing who's hot and who's not can really influence the lineup that you end up going with.
And all by game number 3, by set number 3, you're just like, man, this is what we're rocking with. Of course, if you don't get to a set number 3, it's a whole different question. So getting a little bit of insider information here. I think we're still getting everything set up. Am I crazy here? I think we're still getting things set up. We're still waiting for the blinds. So, I mean, if you're taking a look at this side of Manchester, I gotta ask, because we have some unique ones, what do you think would be the most fun opener for them of the characters? So to run it down, we have a Mii Sword Fighter, a Diddy Kong, a Terry, a Min Min, a Kazuya, as well as a Piranha. But never mind, they are set. I lied. Hey, we're getting into it. Oh my god, is that a snake?
It is a snake, and Snake Min Min is just a very different matchup, but it's our first snake of the day, and a very practiced one at that, and I think this is a matchup that just feels very awkward to play out, because it's a minefield that Snake sets up with all these grenades, C4s planted everywhere, but Min Min still has the range to, in theory, cut down on the time Snake has to set up those potential combos, but Snake has just enough fast options in their kit to be able to scrap, and they're making the most of it right now on a small stage, 130 to 12% here, and just barely able to weave around that side beat.
It's such a dance and song right now, and I mean, last time we saw Min Min, it was able to stage control, but as you said, these little traps all around cause some problems. So Nate's going out here. It's gonna be an up tilt, just a simple smash. And that's gonna be stock number 1. Snake saying thank you very much.
Yeah, very, very early there. And there's so many good quick kill options on Snake too, which make them a very potent character. All of these tilt attacks can potentially take stocks, just above, I'd say, 110, 120 or so. And with those grenades being just everywhere on the field, Snake is a character that's really hard to come back against, but they're going to have a chance here, Manchester, as they try and find the opening off the bat, but that Nair won't kill. Megawatt was not online that time, so the heavy hitbox doesn't come out. Lingering, good catch, but still, Snake on the heavier side of the cast, able to survive.
I mean, you're gonna have to hit Snake at like 175 at this point, unless you're willing to commit a full smash. Oh, miss on the ledge feels bad. Oh, that hurts. Min Min granted a stock.
Yep, could have survived there, but the air dodge just mistimed, and thus they drop a stock because of it. The Snake is one of these characters that loves to try and trade their way to victory with these grenades. They hold them in their pocket, plant them around the stage, but then also, once Min Min tries to get in for combos, that grenade just shuts it down. It's their escape route. And although both players end up taking damage from it typically, the Snake being on the heavier side of the cast means that that percent trend leads in their favor. Low recovery here. He's going to have to use a C4.
Oh. I mean, you have to. Like, that was the only option you had, and now it's a great shield to come out here, so you're able to stay alive, but I mean, that kind of hurts. When you're being forced into these small territories, it starts leaving open opportunities for your opponent to kind of realize you're in a tough spot, right? Once you can identify weaknesses in the opponent, you're in a great state. Now opting to go for those rockets, try and create a little bit of leverage in your own, and then an up tilt once again to collect. And granted, even though it's a 2-1 stock difference, Mr. Man is currently in the lead. Remember, they lost their stock kind of on their own.
You nearly saw in that sequence of the C4 recovery, you're talking about finding the windows, the recognition that they were in disadvantage, they throw out that laser arm and it nearly connects. They said, hey, he's gonna get knocked up somewhere in this area. Let me just throw something out there and try and cover it. And they nearly got the stock off the back of it. They did eventually clean it up, and it is still a lead here for the Snake, but at 140, you still think this stock might be working on borrowed time, but that being said, sticking to the other side of the stage and just launching projectile after projectile, explosion after explosion onto this left side of battlefield, they will be able to get off the ledge for now. Upbeat, not a ton of knockback to that move, so they'll be able to survive. And the fact that they are chipping away at this stock means so much, but they get caught on the platform and the up smash will kill.
At this point, it's really about how much can you work with and how little can you give. That's going to be the name of the game for Fleetwood. Was trying desperately at 115 right now, and I mean, that's the finisher. Such a good job by Mr. Man. Beautifully done to take that lead. It's only one stock, but it's a stock that you'll be able to play through very, very well. Remember, heavy character, heavy hits, as well as a heavy win.
Yeah, Fleetwood did their best there in that sequence to try and work things back. You saw the minute adaptations there of, you know, recognizing, hey, Snake's off stage, let me get those arms out to try and cover. You saw even the control around the platforms too. They just tended to back away and go for things like up smash that took a stock, just saying, hey, you're gonna spend time covering the outside of the stage where I'm not, I'm just going to wait for you to come to my area and eventually punish. It's not an area that Min Min thrives in, but it's an area where they were able to find some ground back into the series and keep things close. But at the end of the day, it was just such an early lead. And once Snake has a lead, like I mentioned, so hard to battle back against a character that just continually puts damage out onto the pitch.
Surprisingly enough, though, that's going to be a challenge coming out. Once again, right? Manchester actually saying, hey, we know Snake can be a bully. We know Snake, if they get a lead, can stay there. We're sending out me Sword Fighter scrubbed out. Will be scrubbed in to this matchup. And my question to you, because me Sword Fighter, again, has kind of risen in the ranks as well. It's still a niche pickup, but it feels like you're sending out the Sword Fighter in hopes for the next matchup. Because, again, it's short range. You don't really have that projectile setup. So what's the thought process behind this?
Well, me Sword Fighter is a tricky character, and it does feel like you said, this character doesn't see a lot of time in the spotlight. But I think the theory is that me Sword Fighter actually out projectiles Snake, because while the grenades do fight through, if the me Sword Fighter is taking the kit that I believe we're likely going to see, you have the tornado that messes with the grenade angle, you've got the chakram which intercepts the side B, and then either of those can lead to combos for me Sword Fighter. So while me Sword Fighter is a sword fighter, they are almost treated more like a projectile character in an odd way, and they do have combos off the back of it. So while they are, I think, looking ahead with this pick, they do have just enough to outrange Snake.
Such a thing to think about, and not one that I think a lot of people would actually sit there and try and figure out, and only for a sword fighter would you actually look that far, right? To hear a sword fighter have more projectiles than a snake is just an oddball question to me. But looking at that flip side, because we have gotten that answer out, we're going to be also interested to see who exactly decides to match afterwards against a sword fighter. If you're talking about projectiles on the sword fighter, hey, that's going to be a big one. What do you prefer? Do you prefer to go close quarters against that or would you try and still stick with those projectiles with that long range? I mean, what are you hoping to see out of Oakland?
I'm expecting to see someone that can kind of scrap, I think, with Sword Fighter. One of the biggest disadvantages of Sword Fighter is that they are a bit slower. While they do have good options, a lot of them are committal. The Chakram covers a good distance, but it takes a second to throw out. The Tornado, there's a little bit of charge up to that move coming out in the first place. So quick, fast characters that are brawlers can get in, do a lot of damage, do their combo, and Mii Sword Fighter is not on the heavier side of the cast, so they can potentially get those kills very early. It's why Snake here is actually not going to be too fearful, because, again, there's just enough in Snake's kind of brawler portion of the kit to be able to go punch for punch with this sword. Although they will be outranged by it, if they get in, you still have things like the down air, the neutral air, that can push you away or at least threaten a space where Mii Sword Fighter might want to get a combo started.
So much to think about and so little time to do so as well. It's one of those things that you have to really take precautions against, and I like it though. It throws a wrench at the plan of just about everyone, and you're just like, man, exactly what's coming out here. So we'll have to take a little bit of time and see. I believe both teams are also interested as well. Trying to take a look at those movesets, like you said, what exactly will come out, what exactly is that Snake going to face off against, and then running down the list, I do want to go ahead and pitch this question to you while we wait. We have gotten word that, again, it's a very deep roster pool, but we've already seen, we're going to see the Mii Sword Fighter. We've seen the Min Min as well, which covers, as you said, projectiles, and then we now have long range. Who else do you want to see come out throughout this series? Because again, we have the Kazuya, we have the Piranha Plant. These are all great mix-ups. What, in your opinion, would be the most, I want to say, impactful pickups here? Because of course we don't know what options 3 and 4 and 2 are for the side of Oakland. What do you think we'll see as a full composition come out for the side of Manchester?
I think Manchester's going to look at that Diddy Kong, and that's going to be their big pick in terms of wild card control. Diddy Kong, although they are on the light side of the cast, the fact that banana peel is such an intricate part of their kit in terms of winning neutral means that it sort of acts as, in terms of move properties, banana peel and grenade, I don't think they have quite the same property, but they are so influential in neutral in that fashion. So I think the Diddy Kong has enough of a flexibility of playstyle in that facet to be able to be a kind of overlooming counter pick for whatever Oakland decides to bring to the table in terms of their character selection. But you do have to be very careful with it, because Diddy Kong is on the light side of the cast. So do you want to weigh that risk of them going up against a heavy? They don't win the projectile game, so putting them up against a Snake feels like a risky maneuver on their part. But on the other hand, once Diddy Kong gets rolling, it snowballs very quickly. That damage, I mean, we've seen some of those brawlers think like Yoshi, where once you get in 1 or 2 hits, that it doesn't go from 5 to 10%, it's 10 to 20, and then very quickly 20 to 40. That's the type of combo game Diddy Kong can have.
It's that spice of life, right? Getting to see Diddy Kong just go ahead and fly across the screen, and all of a sudden they're in your face, giving you multiple percentage rack ups. But again, we can only speculate here. And of course, as we are waiting for players to go ahead and punch their way through. Both teams are currently finishing up their character selections, and now the stage ban will finish as well. So moving through the situation, I also want to throw out one of the other questions, which is the most unlikely pickups here. As I say that, we're underway. You can see me, Swordfighter, coming out. We have to get through this round to go ahead and see what comes out next. It is going to be that big question mark here as, you know, the snake has to sit there and go, okay, I'm going to eat 2 stocks here, of course, as usual. But how am I going to get the stock against the likes of a me, Swordfighter, trying to challenge between the two? Up on top?
Oh, they're reset. Right. Oh, he's waiting for the invincibility to wear on the Halo platform. Okay, there we go. So underway for this one. And in terms of how you're going to take this stock, me Swordfighter's got a really interesting combo of using that tornado I mentioned, leading into an up B. Now the up B, we'll have to see which one me Swordfighter takes here, because the one up B that can kill very early is the one that looks very similar to what Link does, where it's just a circular motion that carries them upward. But you will only see it at these high percents, and I believe that was side B coming through. So there's a couple different options, right? The me fighters have a couple different options in terms of what moves they opt to select too. And me Swordfighter often takes those ranged abilities, but they have the directional air slash instead of that circular motion, which means that combo doesn't come online as early.
I mean, not just that. Currently, Mr. Man has the percentage lead, and I mean, you get 1, but it's not going to happen. That's going to be a great slash. Very well done. The me Swordfighter coming out here. You're going to taste a what for? That was, of course, scrubbed out to go ahead and even things back up. And now we get to speculate, right? Now we get to dance with the threat of a good time. Who is going to come out here? Who is going to face off against the me Swordfighter? And we get to theorize all over again. But I do have to say, it was very, very close. 116 on that me Swordfighter. That is not a percentage you like to see. And next time it comes around, if you face off against the likes of Mr. Man, I'm a little bit scared of that matchup, right? If it's a full 3 versus 3, Mr. Man, I think, has got more bite than anyone is expecting to see.
I mean, look at the percentages. By the time he takes that stock, it was 117 to 130, I want to say. So it was both players in the red there. And although me Swordfighter was able to, I think, keep Snake out for the most part and get good damage online, one good hit, one good forward smash, one good forward tilt at the ledge, and all of a sudden things are a little risky there. But now, importantly for Oakland, they get to see the moveset of this me Swordfighter, right? They know that Chakram is out. They know that the up B isn't the combo-centric one. It's the directional one that gets them a bit more distance. Think like Fox up B. It is just any direction and point and go, essentially. And that one doesn't have a whole lot of knockback. It is mostly used exclusively for recovery or just through using it like Fox or Falco side B, just bursting through and trying to fight through. We've seen Sephiroth do that as well with their up B. So that's the type of move you're dealing with in that portion of the kit. And then Chakram being that lingering neutral B, lingering projectile that not only just you can throw in a couple different directions, but stays there and then eventually floats back to you. Think like the Belmont side B, the cross that just goes back and forth, except just sits there an extra second.
It's the boomerang factor, right? Having that extra piece of utility out on the ground just means another thing to dodge over. We have gotten word, though. We get a cloud coming out here. I was not expecting this. Okay, so I was trying to get a little bit of information. There wasn't a whole lot to read on the side of Oakland. They kept their picks in the dark, and of course their match history we haven't been able to really watch. So I know some of the teams have that information, but for me personally, I'm excited to see every single character that comes out. We are seeing a plethora of differences that make me so excited for the rest of the playoffs here. Cloud against me Swordfighter. Whose sword is bigger?
Well, we'll see. It is Cloud's in-game, at least. It is just a little bit more range to it and hits a little bit harder. So I love the Cloud pick here. Although you will struggle against projectiles, think like what I said about the Brawlers. Once you get in, your damage comes online very quickly, and you can potentially take stocks, and that's what Cloud can do here. They have that speed advantage of getting in and being able to maneuver around a lot of what me Swordfighter brings to the table. Well air dodged around, but they can't make their way back to the stage thanks to that forward smash. Knocked off stage once more. Should still be able to get back, but just barely so. Back here lingering on the ledge there, knocking them off once more, and maybe a chance. Oh, they up B back, clever there to fight their way out of the corner, but they will die to the up smash.
I really, really like that here. Anthony really impressed me so far. It's not super fast, right? It's not like the crazy fast action that we've seen before, and the control with pressure, it's almost like a gentle setup, right? You are expecting the opponent to come to you. You're waiting for them to almost make a mess up, and then you capitalize on those mistakes, and I really, really like that style. 133 is okay to sit at because you already got the first stock. As long as you push to 60 or 70 here, once you lose your stock, you're going to come down, you're going to have a great kill threat.
And they make it back here. That is really well done. We saw them go for that on that first stock earlier, but didn't quite get the timing right. But that's the other advantage of that up B. It's a multi-hit, which means that there's so many hitboxes that at that downwards angle can intercept a recovery, and Cloud's recovery without limit, extra limited. You do not have a whole lot of range to work with. Most of their recovery actually comes from that double jump. So the fact that that was well recognized shows how smart Manchester is playing this matchup.
That was like playing DDR right there. Dodged just about every single projectile that got thrown out in the up and low, and I was like, oh my gosh, I would be dizzy watching that. It's so much fun. Right now, counting up to 88, a couple more stars go out, and then a slam trying to hit with the up air. Not going to be a kill threat, but it is going to be enough. A little bit of a slow Chakram to come out. 125 with a snipe. Number one, not going to have a second snipe behind, but the limit is starting to be built up. At this current moment, Scrubbed out, trying to find a little bit of leverage, but it's still the brute force power of this Cloud. Every single drop down is such a scary moment. Rush A not going to land. Instead, it's going to be a stab up. Both players currently hunting for that extra stock, and it's going to be in the way of the Cloud off the ceiling.
Dash attack, such a strong move, and so quick, so difficult to deal with. Just kind of ran out of options there, was scrubbed out. Love the actual use of the limit blade beam there to stuff out the approach as they were looking to quickly try and earn a stock back. But the damage output is just so clean. They go for blood here with that early runoff, and they don't quite find it, but the damage has already been dealt up to 92% here on this stock. And one strong hit could potentially kill. And just like that, there it is! The golf club swing comes through, and down goes member number 2.
Rude middle smack, just straight up shield. Knew that up smash was coming out on the other side as well. The Meat Sword Fighter didn't really have a whole lot of options. Read it perfectly, and that's what I was saying. Right now, Anthony is I read you and then capitalize on what you're going to do. We saw it multiple times. It felt slow, and I think that kind of frustrated Scrubbed out a little bit. You saw dancing in a little bit close, trying to get those frustrating smash attacks. It didn't work out. Very well done by Anthony. However, now you look a little bit forward as well. What character do you want to bring out against a Cloud that not only has strong hit power, with the player carrying that character is now looking to kind of get a read on you, use that sixth sense to figure out what you're going to do?
Anthony's playing really well right now. Just the movement very clean, the decision making on point, stuffing out any over aggression. But I do think if you're going to lean towards a specific character, this is where I actually might like the Diddy Kong. This goes back to the Wii U days of a couple of those top players playing those characters, where Diddy Kong and that banana peel can just overwhelm the sword. There's not a real easy way for swordies to deal with projectiles, and Cloud, while they do have a projectile of their own, it's slow, it's very lingering, it's easy to predict and see coming. That banana peel, though, can just run away potentially with that stock. We've seen Cloud really struggle off stage. That's where Diddy Kong can thrive with that banana peel. Place it along the ledge. You get easy follow-ups into down air or forward smash if properly positioned, and if you're maining Diddy Kong, you have to have that positioning be on lock.
Well, it ain't going to be the Diddy Kong, but it's another close quarters fighter. Maybe not with the banana peel in hand. It is going to be the Kazuya. Coming out here, this one heavy set fighter that we once again got to see. It's not the Terry. It's not going to be that, but the brawl coming out of Kazuya. You know, anyone that's played against Kazuya knows that this is going to be a painful, painful matchup. Pars is going to try and pilot that one to a grand extent for Manchester, who are currently down, I believe, 2 stocks. They're sitting on 6, trying to take out a few more. I mean, instead of the Diddy Kong, it's still a good fighter. What do you think of this matchup instead?
This still feels very manageable for Kazuya. While Cloud does have the agency in terms of speed, Kazuya is considered to be one of those touch of death characters. They get that one combo, and it's easily, not just if you execute all the hits on it and get the proper knockdown, it is 0 to 70 very, very quickly. But you have to get everything in the right position. You have to find your one opening. And Kazuya still has that range advantage. They have a projectile of their own that can cut through Blade Beam. They have the ability to try and burst through if they find the opening. The knockdown combos they can get on the platform. Kazuya's movement is very, very different than the rest of the cast, even from the rest of the kind of traditional fighting game characters like the Terry, Ryu, and Ken. So it is a bit clunkier of movement, but it is still very potent. And a lot of those aerials too, although they're a bit slower, if they connect, those are potential kill options against Cloud.
And that's so scary to think about. Not only that, Cloud needs to go ahead and take two. Keep that in mind. Anthony is down one stock right now, and with that kind of touch of death, you're looking to actually rebuttal on your own. Remember, Anthony is a player that is very much I can read you, and with how much you're talking about Kazuya, there might be that window of opportunity. So if you are Anthony Sword, what are you actually looking for to kind of take advantage of in this matchup?
I think one of the biggest things about Kazuya is how Kazuya, while they do have that touch of death play style, they do have to kind of commit to those moves. And so I think Cloud here, you're just looking to play a bit more patient and look for your windows in. You have to play this more like a traditional swordy versus brawler type of style. Play back a bit, wait for them to overextend, take your one or two hits, and then escape. Because Kazuya still has that ability to reversal you, and if you still find openings and limit their options, you have the range advantage, and you will win in that category. And you can see that early on here. 63-0 through the first 30 seconds.
I mean, you were calling it, right? And then immediately to happen. However, that touch of death is very, very dangerous. A chase towards center stage into 97, but up on to the stage from the ledge. It is going to be a brutal, brutal hit. 82 in the blink of an eye as well, both at kill threat, depending on who hits first.
You can tell they're both starting to play very carefully here. Oh, that was so clean, though. Underneath, the command grab with Rage Drive online. A little bit of armor to that command grab, too, so they're able to fight through any potential hitbox that would have come out. And with all that extra rage built up in-game as well, at the red, that's absolutely going to kill. So well executed upon, and now they're looking for more. Oh, they got the footstool. Oh, but get-up attack was so clean from Anthony.
Very, very well done. We all saw that setup and we all went, oh my gosh, please don't let it happen right now. Halfway to limit, now fully charged, and then a beautiful snipe. Well done there. The opener for the side of Oakland. Popping off here, a little bit of grab into the headbutt, and looking for a bit more. 53 off the rip. Now, what more can you do? A little bit of a dash attack, going to set them up, and then a challenge in the air once again. Look at this. Anthony making sure that the sword gets so much value. Up airs, just taunting, if you will.
These up airs are so key for Anthony to land. There's not a great aerial game from Kazuya, right? They're a traditional fighting game character. You don't spend a lot of time in the air there. So while those aerials from Kazuya are really strong, they're lingering, they're slow, they're not very good, and not very good at getting Kazuya back down to the ground. So if Anthony is able to find more of those, that is their window to run away with this game. And they're using their movement so well, dancing around that platform, and now finding the back air to knock them off stage.
It's like Anthony was testing what works, what doesn't in that earlier stock. How can I make this happen? And now has found the secret to success. It's going to be another stock. Anthony looking to take so much home, and you can see it here. It's a giant question mark. You're like, man, what just went wrong? What a turnaround here so far. Pars lost for words. A little bit of grab, and then a little bit of a projectile shot, but the laser not going to do too much, and then a fast fall by accident. I don't think that's what you want to do. It will be one stock left on Pars.
Yeah, Pars unfortunately dropping that last stock, but I mean, Anthony putting in so much work here. Cloud back air, that back air must be their best move in terms of utilization. It just does so much work. covers such a good distance. It's such a fast move. It is shockingly quick, and it seemingly never loses its knockback. At low percent, you can string it together with other hits. At high percents, it kills. It is just such a good move, and Anthony making great utilization of it throughout that series, and throughout those stocks, able to clean up that last stock. And like you said, that forward air just unfortunately timed, too laggy of a move to use while you're in the air and fast falling.
Feels bad, but I think you did your job, right? As we said time and time again, it's good. Now, we get to hear who the next character is, and we are getting word that Oakland are running to the Min Min. So, I have to say, by the way, Min Min is not on my list of top-tier characters. It's fun to watch, though, and I know a lot of people have been enjoying the rise of Min Min, but to me, it's just like, come on, I like close quarters, that's me. But the fact that we're going to see it brought out here against Kazuya, I think the game plan is extremely clear what's going on.
Yeah, and this is, again, Min Min going to be controlling the stage best they can against Kazuya because they have the range advantage. Those arms are just longer. And I think it is still a scary position, though, because Min Min is significantly lighter than Kazuya. So if Kazuya Pars, I should say, gets in and gets their damage, I mean, it's going to be, I think, probably around that kill threat range starts, I think, come online probably around 90%, so like just below 100 with how heavy Kazuya hits. And I do like the stage selection here for both sides. While this is a smaller stage for Min Min to control, Kazuya will actually enjoy a smaller stage, forcing more interactions, allowing them to just scrap a bit more.
Let's see how hard this scrap goes. Immediately off the rip, we're seeing a little bit of the chalk arm fly out, look for a little bit of bowling, but we are getting caught in this twist. Look at the drawback. Those hits are so good. 63 right now in the blink of the eye, but thrown to the edge. These lasers are going to do so much work, at least from the Min Min side. Now up above, trying to play off of this platform. Kazuya doesn't want to drop down, now does, and immediately gets booted to the edge. It's just never-ending aggression.
Dancing around the platform once more.
Nice
Another good grab landed. That was really clean. Low recovery force here. Not too much Min Min can do about that one. That it is kind of an escape route for this Kazuya. Pars unable to find that neutral B that time. Only so many angles you can use that projectile at. They've been kept in the corner for so long. It's built up a 30, make that 50% lead now for this Min Min. Just such control and such patience, just making sure they're not overextending and not allowing any windows back in.
The problem is once that one window is taken, it's a problem, right? Double laser and then a little bit of a dash across the stage. Looking to try and hold that edge. Has the leap, is going to make the ledge, but rolls straight into a brutal punch. Well done from Avian to go ahead and finish off that round. It's a full 3-stock lead currently set in for the side of Oakland.
Yeah, Avian, I mean, doing a fantastic job shutting down Pars there, and I mean, just while it was only one stock, you saw that they felt pretty good about their play style. I mean, just able to control the stage pretty well, covering decent options. While they did get poked at a couple times and had to scrap, they were able to weave their way around those situations. And again, similar to the Min Min games we saw out of our previous series, just control center stage, make sure that you are the one, in the advantage state. Immediately, we saw a lot of early pushes to the corner, not just connecting on hits to wall them out, but things like the roll behind grab back throw, right? Just get these characters off stage. These players know at this level, just making sure your opponent stays in disadvantage for longer. It's like time on attack, essentially, in traditional sports. That's kind of what that offstage gameplay is. Hold center stage, hold that corner, keep them in disadvantage, because once you're off stage, your options are very limited. Think about the ledge. You only have so many options to do. You can jump, or you can drop ledge and try an aerial back on. You can get up attack, neutral get up, jump, and roll. That's it. That's all there is. And Min Min can cover a lot of those very, very quickly.
Well, in this current moment, you're going to cover even more so because the Diddy is coming out here. This is going to be Duck 190, giving it their best run. And honestly, those options that Min covers is going to be much higher, right? That rocket to get back on stage can have so many different variables. Obviously, it's very telegraphed. Don't get me wrong. The rocket pack is like, you know where the rocket's going. However, it is going to be a little bit higher. Maybe you look at those ceilings. Maybe you're covering much higher up above. And it's going to be fun to watch the adaptations come out here. But this is also what you're talking about, right? Last player here for Manchester, and they're going with that versatile pickup.
It is interesting that they leave them as the anchor, and it's going to be a tricky matchup to navigate, because while I do like this for Diddy Kong to get in with that banana peel and get their combos going on this Min very quickly, it still feels like Min, if they get this Diddy Kong off stage, it is in their favor, right? Diddy Kong, once those barrels are gone, they're gone for a second, and Diddy Kong's recovery, it is more about east to west than it is north-south. There's not a lot of verticality to that up B. And on those recoveries that are more based around going left to right or right to left, Min covers those really well. So I feel like the game plan here doesn't change all that much. Get this Diddy Kong off stage. Make sure that Jetpack, if you can intercept it, great. If you can't, oh well, you're going to have to force them to dip low, which you still have a chance to two-frame for. But the game plan remains the same of make sure this battle for stage control tips in your favor.
2, 1, go!
Last chance here for Manchester to get this first set done. We'll see how it breaks down. A quick meeting in the center gives a blow to each side, but quickly it is going to be that coverage. Avian sending the city to the edge, as you said. It's not going to stop complete bullying, but using that rocket to break open a little bit of space down cover in the mid with that banana peel. A throw down though. Avian says not a chance. It's stock taken in 30 seconds.
That was such a huge stock here. And again, that kill power of Min. Diddy Kong, one of the lighter characters in the game. Not the lightest, but also not that heavy. And thus, those hits connect very quickly. The kill power of Min, those stray hits, could potentially take stocks, I'd say around, again, like 90-ish%. And if you're not DI'd correctly, even earlier. So Duck 190 has to play very, very carefully here. And they drop the opening stock. They get the banana peel here. The pressure's on. Monkey flip in will help knock this Min off stage. But you have to find a way to clean up the stock.
I mean, this is looking spicy overall. Great little hit to keep the space above. But right now, it's looking for that final kill threat. A little bit of a back here, trying to punch off stage. But again, it's from side to side, and it's not looking too great. You need to get him to the ledge, and that's going to be the Min to have the power over. 95 and then some. Looking at that shield. Neutral air gives away to the side of Avian. Avian jumping over that banana peel, which could have been brutal, but the shield going quite low. And then the opening that they were looking for. Min says, thank you very much. Did he get straight back towards that middle, but Duck hunting, great hit again. They are literally just trading places over and over again.
And all these trades are just benefiting Oakland so much more, and they're gonna catch a jump too. So well done by Avian. They will drop their stock here thanks to the back air, but the damage has been dealt. It's 2-1 in the stock count, and there's still a player waiting for the Grizzlies. Now maybe a chance here on the follow-up. Won't find the monkey flip. The burst that Diddy Kong has to get through, things like the barrels and the monkey flip, have been completely mitigated, and they can't snap to the ledge. The angle's just off, and Oakland takes set 1.
In by far what is one of the more dominating showings, Avian blows through 2 players and says thank you very much. And we said it, right? At the beginning, Manchester even saying, hey, Oakland somehow has our number. Meeting up here in the playoffs is a test for them. They have to figure out how they're going to take that dub. And we can see why. It seems almost like the differences in those starters, but the counters that Oakland currently have just seem to do a little bit better in these matchups. It's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, when you look at Oakland and the cast of characters they bring to the table and their play style, they just play the game in I think a very unique fashion. It feels like there are certain aspects of the character that you tend to highlight, and they find the workaround for it. If you game plan for part A, they will lead with part B. You'll still see the same character, but the focus will be on a different portion of the game. And that's where Oakland have really kind of thrown a lot of teams some curveballs. And you saw that, I think, throughout this set.
Well, taking a look here, it is going to be something that Manchester have hopefully also spotted. They got to come up with a game plan if they want to stay in for a set number 3. For right now, though, we are going to go to a short break. Nate Starleague will be right back with set number 2 and what could possibly be a 2-0 as Oakland continue to face off against Manchester. Don't go anywhere.
Toxic therapy from your vape.
Can't sleep? Listen to my voice. Your friends all bailed on you. Your crush thinks you're thirsty. The planet is dying. Keep obsessing till 5 a.m.
Vaping nicotine is associated with sleep problems. Find solutions at thetruth.com.
Los Angeles Comic-Con is back at the LA Convention Center December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Meet stars from hit movies and TV series like Matt Smith, Jamie Campbell Bower, Elijah Wood, Sean Astin, Rainn Wilson, and so much more. Shop over 800 exhibitors and artists. Experience the vibrant cosplay community and immerse yourself in the gaming and anime hall with tournaments for Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter all weekend long. Get your tickets for LA's favorite comic, gaming, anime, and pop culture convention at ComicConLA.com.
And as you just saw, a fantastic video highlighting what is currently coming up, LA Comic-Con. LA Comic-Con is being produced in an expansive excuse me, is producing an expansive and exciting gaming, esports, and anime experience in the West Hall of the Los Angeles Convention Center on December 1st through the 3rd. If you're interested, your pass gets you access to the gaming stage tournaments, as well as the stream studio of your favorite streamers, the free play zone with the hottest PC and console games, and then, of course, the mix. If you're interested in some old indie games, that'll be with some devs, about 10 of them on site, so make sure to check that out. If you're interested, go ahead and click on the panel below and use the promo code level up for $5 off your gaming pass. Remember, that is LEVELUP to go ahead and try and get $5 off your gaming pass. So a lot of kind of fun there. I mean, that is honestly awesome to hear more events running those esports kind of arenas, and very nice insight as well. I mean, I'm 30 years old, 31 now, I think, and just interesting to watch the journey that esports has had, as we are now here once again. You are here to watch some Super Smash Bros. Ultimate action as Oakland need one more set to finish off Manchester.
Oakland needing that one more set to advance to the semifinals and potentially go up against that Stony Brook squad that we saw not so long ago on that side of the bracket. So they'll likely want to clean this one up and get ready for that matchup of Manchester. I mean, like we mentioned, this is a squad that's had their number, but it still feels like it is close. It feels like they've got a lot of good ideas, but the execution has just been barely off, and Oakland have taken full advantage of it. Their players are on fire.
It's been an interesting test, and the surprising thing as well is even Manchester kind of knew this. It's a question of what's actually falling apart for them. It doesn't feel like there's any main component. It just feels like, again, maybe their read on their opponents, what they're going to toss at the start, could be a little bit different. So my thoughts to you: do Manchester actually open with the min once again? Because I think that's what they did against the Snake. Is that actually what you want to see? Or if you're Manchester, do you expect the Snake to come back out and then try for something else?
Well, I think Manchester, you might want to switch things up just to see. Snake is a tough opening matchup, I think, for what Manchester brought to the table. Or if you look at the characters, I'd say the Mii Sword Fighter does have a better time with it in terms of contesting from range. But the rest of them, it just feels like it's so hard to break through and still win that kind of trading battle that Mr. Man brought to the table. Maybe if you go with someone heavier like Pars on the Kazuya, I might lean towards that, especially since Pars seemed to have a decent idea of windows where they could convert some combos and get some good damage online, although they did get shut down by Anthony's Cloud, which certainly brought some pace to the matchup. So it just feels very difficult for Manchester to navigate in terms of the matchups that they want, but they are all still, it's not like these matchups are unwinnable by any means. They're all still very easily within reach. They just have to clean up one or two aspects and tweak it for whatever character matchup they might be going up against.
Well, for right now, we have actually gotten word what the double blind was. It is going to be an opening with that Snake once again from Oakland. But for Manchester, it's actually a start on that Mii Sword Fighter. So the Mii Sword Fighter getting a chance to fight off all three stocks of the Snake. So it is going to be scrubbed out. Stepping in here, we are going to town once again. Let's head there and have a little bit of fun. And in this instance, I mean, the stage side, it feels very neutral once again, right? So, I mean, is that Snake going to have a much better time? Are we going to see that two stocks left, or is this going to be much closer?
I expect it to be much closer. A stage that gives a lot of time and space for two more projectile-based characters means that it's typically a slower matchup, but you still have, I think, that kind of room for a lot of extended combos if the platforms are there and present. And the punishes, I think, are really what I'm looking for between these two, because once those platforms are gone, the stage becomes Final Destination. And here they go, exiting, which means all those grenades that Snake has set up are off the table, and Mr. Man has to work a little bit harder to try and get that damage on lock here against this Mii Sword Fighter.
I love the fact that the mix of those grenades is being tossed right back into Mr. Man's face, right? You just constantly see these nades flying back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. A little bit of an artillery shell goes up, but does get a snag. Beautiful job to rack up the damage. Both players are currently sitting at about 100 to 105, but remember, a Snake at 105 is vastly different than a me Sword Fighter at 105, 134 and counting for the likes of Scrubbed Out.
Scrubbed Out's trying to play really carefully here. Oh, they get knocked back by the grenade. They wanted to follow up with a back air there, but they commit to the move and they don't find the hit marker. Dash through, and it's a dash attack that will clean things up for first stock, and now they'll be able to burst through the potential projectiles and clean it back up, but still, the early advantage goes to Oakland.
I mean, and that's going to be a read and a setup. 62 in the blink of an eye as the start for the side of Mr. Man feels great, but the combination with the Chakram is going to fly just as hard. Scrubbed Out, hoping to get a little bit of a chance, just trying to find some fragments and force the Snake to come closer. But the dance on top of these nades is causing some problems with those platforms. It's a chase, right? How quickly can you get that nade to your opponent if you're that Snake? And then for me, Sword Fighter, what setup can you have? Can you find that little fragment piece to go ahead and challenge in? You ran in on the up smash and you still get blown away. Great grab from Snake, a happy little accident.
And you can tell right now that Scrubbed Out is trying to use a couple of these moves to try and quickly burst through and not give Mr. Man the time to set up or trade or set up those options, but they're just not finding the mark. The moment is not as safe as they think it is, and thus they are eating damage time and time again, and it's an easy punish for Mr. Man to follow up, get chip damage online, and now they have a lead. They're looking to extend it, 10% on the board, grenade in hand. It does pop, and thus they will eat some damage for it, but they can opt to just back away with that Cypher and buy space.
Maybe a little bit of frustration as well. That's going to be a nice stab into the air. Beautifully done to go ahead and force Mr. Man into their last stock. It's much better than we saw in the previous set. You go ahead and leave only one on the line, hoping to take the next. 52% though. Chakram goes out to buy a little bit of space. Now you get closer without the platforms. This is your time to attack. Can you get close? Good grab out of shield, but the nades deny any sort of follow-up. The nade actually, again, drops him off. Can't get a little bit of edge guard. Mr. Man continuing this dance. The song dodges off the edge, barely gets the rotation, but I don't think they get it. Gets the C4, able to fly back up, but sets it up perfectly for the back air. It is going to be Scrubbed Out to take this first round.
And what seemed so rough at first, Scrubbed Out comes up clutch. They recognize, hey, he air dodged way too far, and he's going to drift all the way off stage. It's an easy C4 recovery for them, but still, it pops them up into back air range, and they fight through. They get that back air just in time, right before Cypher is able to escort Snake away, because once that up B starts for Snake, there's a little bit of armor to it, so he's able to usually tank a hit or two on that Cypher, but instead, able to get that back air just before that recovery comes out, and they're able to clean up the opening stock of game number 1. Or 2.
Feels very, very good. But again, it was a moment, right? Capitalizing on the mistake, and we know who's coming in next. It is this tried and true method coming out of Oakland. It is going to be Cloud. Anthony to come out here was that mainstay player, the one that ran up, I think it was 4 or 5 stocks in a row. Very nicely done. And this is going to be the problem, right? You have to have an answer, and I don't really think Manchester had a proper answer. They had an answer. It wasn't proper, and they need to find a way to shut down Cloud, keep them within their confined 3 stocks that they're allowed to take.
Yeah, this is going to be difficult again. I think part of it was that Scrubbed Out just kind of wanted to execute their game plan and just try and get their damage online the way that they are most comfortable with. But Cloud doesn't really give you that leniency. Cloud's too fast to let you just sit back and throw projectiles. So Scrubbed Out here, in order to try and continue to keep Manchester, I think, in the lead, what they're going to have to do is be very careful defensively. They have to look for the overextensions of this Cloud and try and punish them accordingly. I talked about it in that previous set with Stony Brook. Knowing the end of your combo so that you don't get reversaled, I think, is a massive factor as we get the stage reorganized here to make sure we're on the right spot. But I think that's the biggest key, is making sure that you know exactly where the line is and not crossing it, and making sure you're picking the right defensive option. Because Anthony, they've got the pace to be able to run away with this one.
It's towing the line without crossing over and praying that the opponent doesn't see you towing the line. It's like, oh boy, I don't want to get drawn into their pacing. But as you said, wrong stage selection. We'll get things fixed here, and then we'll get underway. I'm very curious to see if Mr. Man is able to go a little bit crazy, you know, go a little bit ham and take more than one. If that's true, that would be another situation. Of course, we can't because Mr. Man is gone. I forgot about that. My brain did not lag well right there. We'll see if Scrubbed Out can do that, right? I want to see a very strong bounce back from Manchester. I don't want to see them kind of situate themselves into an even pacing. Let's go ahead and get underway. We are going to see those two stocks go down, and I love that dance, by the way. That is so much fun to watch. It's the glide, right? What was that, the waltz?
Yeah, so this is not 100% sure the name, the specific name for it, but every character kind of has that move, and it's basically the end of your dash, but you kind of cancel it into your turnaround walk, and thus you just get this fancy movement, and it shows the confidence that Anthony's got on this character to know that exact spacing.
Let's see if they can continue, as that's as easy as it comes. I think that was a 30-second stock once again.
That was the equivalent of getting punched in the gut and having your air just completely sucked out of you. That's what that forward smash was.
Yeah.
Oh my mercy. And that's such an early percent too. I mean, I realize me Sword Fighter is not that heavy of a character, but the sound effect just makes it sound so much more damaging, and well read by Anthony to find that opportunity. I mean, there's while your options from Ledge are limited, the fact that he picked the perfect one and read it beautifully, that just shows again how clean Oakland has been.
I would almost testify that it's actually just Anthony that is that clean, right? Not saying that the rest of the team isn't, but Anthony has looked like levels above others in the read game, right? Trying to scan your opponent, trying to figure out exactly what they're going to do. He's had some of the best read options and really making his own options look good, right? It's been less guesswork on his point. He's been able to really just hone in on exactly what he wants to do, whether it's play slow or fast, and he understands when that space is given to aggress, when that opportunity arises. Whereas the rest of Oakland almost feel like a brute door force, right? Like, just like, hey, I'll throw out as many attacks as I can get, and then you will lose your stock. Anthony is almost surgical, procedurally taking away these opportunities. So that's why it felt so good there as well. It was like an immediate rack up of 93 and then just death. And we're like, that happened. That very much happened.
Just a sucker punch of a stock, because now that lead that Manchester had is now gone, and they have to deal with the menace that is Anthony. And I like what you said. It feels very, very surgical from this Cloud player. And I do think it's because you are on a character like Cloud, where you do have the agency in terms of the speed, but you also have such a struggle and disadvantage that you have to win neutral. You have to win and make your advantage state really count on this character, because you can get so much out of it. And your disadvantage is just that painful to try and work out of. And so Anthony, in these moments, is just saying, all right, well, what's the smartest option to cover here? What do most players go for? And let's cover that first. And if that doesn't work, we'll have a backup plan. We'll go for more back airs here. We just saw in that previous set against, I believe it was Pars, the Kazuya in that previous set, the ability to say, all right, let's get this Kazuya in the air early on these stocks. Let's not try and scrap with the brawler or try and use the disjoints. Let's put them in a part of the stage where they're going to struggle. It's just really well executed upon by Anthony to recognize a portion of the game that not a lot of, I think, players think about.
It's one that when you do see it, it looks good. When you see a player really hone in on this aspect, it looks so good because you also don't see it yourself. So I love the fact that you pointed it out, Anthony, picking up on a situation that not a lot of players would. In this instance, though, we are back to a 9-stock situation. I'm leaning into advantage for Anthony, but taking a look, I believe we do have the player coming out here. It is going to be a dance on top, I think we're also taking a look at some other discussions on the side. So we're still waiting to figure out who exactly the next player is going to be. I want to know what they're going to answer with, because again, I think last time that we saw it, it was an attempt and they lost multiple players. So I mean, taking a look here, who do you want to see come out? We've seen the Diddy Kong, we've seen the Kazuya. I think the Kazuya was an attempt to take over. You still got the Terry in the back pocket, so that could be something. And then the Piranha plan as well. These are other options that you know, if you're feeling comfortable, you can take against the Cloud. Yeah,
I think in general, I would be interested to see Duck 190 go up against this Cloud, just for that reason of, hey, off stage is trouble for both of these, and Diddy Kong can survive a bit longer in that regard. I believe we might have even seen Min Min as well in that opening set. So Min Min might be able to, I think, just cover the approach that Cloud has, and so that might be something I would lean towards. I wouldn't be. I think the one character I would like to avoid here is Piranha Plant, just because while you are a very good defensive character and can counter a lot of the quick options that Cloud brings to the table, I think that the sword just does too much damage, that it'd be similar to that snake battle where you're just kind of trading and you need to find somewhere where you can actually take an advantage. That's the one I think that I would try and avoid. But outside of that, again, just feels like everything for Manchester feels very 60-40, but it's the 60 for Oakland.
Mm-hmm. It's the leaning into, hey, we understand we're at a disadvantage, right? Like that cannot be misstated right now. That is our baseline at the current moment. So we'll see if they can manage their way forward and, again, find those opportunities, those rare opportunities. But getting through this Cloud is going to be a test all on its own. I think we are getting confirmation on a couple rules. We might go to a quick break here depending on how long this does take. We want to make sure that we are running a very fair playoff run here, and both these teams having history before. So we'll go to a short break, get everything set, and then we'll be right back with the continuation of this set number 2. Please don't go anywhere, Nate. Star League. We'll be right back. we're just going straight into this game as well, as right now the teams are in. We got Augment on the Terry coming out for Manchester, and it's already going to be a spicy one. Looks like... Do we have a stage mix-up again?
Oh, he's on his...
controls. Okay.
Well, those ones hurt just because you're like, all right, I'm ready to play, and then all of a sudden you're like, why are my buttons not doing the right things?
I ran left instead of right. This is a problem. I don't like this. It's not exactly that one, but it is going to be the controls. But now we get to talk about the matchup, right? This is a little bit interesting. We didn't get to see Augment in the previous set. In set 2 here, it is that shakeup, but we've seen Terrys throughout the night, and so far, I'm going to be quite honest, the Terrys haven't impressed me.
Yeah, it's still a difficult matchup because while you are still dealing with a range disadvantage because of the sword, Terry can still kind of execute their game plan on the taller body of Cloud. But I think what you're looking for here is to kind of weave your way around neutral a bit more, because Cloud can kind of get caught tripping over their own feet with their own speed. And so you do have a pretty cut and dry punish game, I guess, as this Terry. And we've seen Terrys be able to take stocks very early. Cloud is not a heavy character. And so Terry, even if they do kind of fall behind, you still have that comeback factor of Go to be able to come online here. And Augment, I think on a stage like this, like Hollow Bastion too, picking a stage where the platform's dead center means that it's a little bit harder for Cloud to navigate, because dropping through that platform is more committal. The aerials on Cloud are fast, but they're not that fast. And so stage control is a massive factor for this battle, and one that Augment, I think, is really going to try and take control of.
The static field is really what it is, right? Just that ability to know exactly what's going to happen. So it's easy to read. I gotta agree. Cutting off Cloud's attempts at trying to bounce back and get those little advantages all over the place is going to be very interesting to watch for, right? We have to sit there and go, okay, what are these thought out paces? Is the Terry actually going to work? Of course, at the same time, we got to admit, of all the players to be in this situation, Anthony is probably, in my opinion, one of the best to be able to adapt to just about anything that occurs.
Anthony's been really good about finding unique weak points here. I'd almost say this is going to be a similar game plan. Yep, seeing it right off the bat here. Up throw at low percents. They want to get this Street Fighter-esque character up high, try and get those juggles, because up air is a very damaging move, and then they can find a stray strong hit later. That's kind of Cloud's bread and butter, and they're able to try and get some of that online now, but look at the clean conversions. 2 hits of Nair, and they're able to rack up some damage. 94, 101. They don't get the spike, but 120 feels like Anthony might be working on borrowed time on this stock.
That's not a good sign either, but a good slam is going to work. Anthony is gone. And Augment happily takes that first, but now it's going to be that rebuttal. Maybe you can bring it on home, but that's going to be a nice slap up B. Grabs a good chunk of damage.
Very well done here. How long do they have on this stock? With Go Online, could be very useful, but they have to find a way around, and they cannot. Anthony there, well-timed down air. That up B leaves your feet exposed, and the sword will be able to connect, and just like that, it's an even stock game.
Well, not exactly even, as this is stage control over to Anthony. We talked about it, right? This control factor from Anthony is just too dang good, and you're able to push the Terry even further. It is a done deal, under 100%. Well done by Anthony, just steal back the pace of the game.
I can't believe he got that forward smash. That was so clean from Anthony to find that window. And all of a sudden, like you said, a full stock lead, and a significant one that Augment is going to have to try and overcome here. They're looking for any opening. They're looking for any of these aerials just to try and knock them down, and maybe they can sneak a down tilt to extend that combo. But right now, Anthony's just playing patient, waiting, holding shield, dashing away, and that up B out of shield too, one of the better ones in the game, does so much damage, and it leads to a juggle here. Anthony's getting everything.
I mean, just watch how quickly Anthony's able to transition between the different styles, right? The up airs have been used in very minimal extents, but when you do, you get so much value out of it. I love this key player. It's like you are the great equalizer in this setup. Your team relies on you to equalize the current set and make sure you're in a good path. Oh, that's a catch. That's done deal. What a snipe at the bottom with 2 stocks left. I mean, that's Anthony making this cloud look so good, making my camera look cloudy as well.
Style points at the end there. Who goes down for cross slash? That move's got no knockback, and he still was able to connect on it and get the stock because of it. Anthony playing with his heels on fire right now. He is everywhere he needs to be, and his decision making is so smart right now. Like you said, the ability to kind of switch up the game plan of, all right, I'm going to stay grounded here, I'm going to play defensive here, or going for the juggle game. The ability to recognize, again, that cutoff point of when do I pull back, and even getting things like juggles off of the defensive play, up B to the platform into falling up air is just something you don't see. And it goes to show, again, I cannot overstate how smart Anthony is playing.
There's also a scary price, right? We expected the Terry to come out. We expected Augment to come out and at least grab 2. We expected to be a little bit closer. With 2 stocks left and Anthony reading a lot of what's going on, you're down to just 1 of 2 characters that you can pull from. And that terrifies me. Because remember, Anthony went ahead. There is no me sword fighter anymore. There is, I believe, still the Min available and Kazuya, but Pars already got beat by the Cloud last time as well. It was a very rough matchup. So, I mean, what do you actually go for? Do you try and spring another difference? Do you try and go for Piranha Plant, or do you go for maybe a little bit more comfort behind?
I think they're all feasible here. The Diddy Kong still, although it got locked out in that previous series, is something I've been touching on a couple of times throughout this set, but I do think Pars on that at Kazuya feels like a solid play here, just because it feels like Pars, while they weren't the answer last time, they kept it close. They kept it within arm's reach, and again, it feels like it's still manageable. But Anthony is just playing in such a way that is very difficult for these players to play around for Manchester. I think Pars on the Cloud could, or on the Kazuya, could get some solid combos going and potentially eliminate some stocks early, but they have to play very patient. And Kazuya is one of the heaviest characters remaining in Manchester's kit, which I think will give them that time.
Well, we are going with that Kazuya right back to Hollow Bastion, and honestly, I think it's an okay matchup, right? The Kazuya last time got in and was able to do a lot of damage this time as well. On Hollow Bastion, it's a little bit easier to get close quarters, and automatically the laser comes out, stopping that limit progression and saying, you will fight at my pace. Already the upbeat slash, though, will grab some damage back, but 42 on this Cloud, and now a shove with a dash.
And Kazuya doesn't mind the platform of Hollow Bastion either, because they can get some combo extensions of their own going. So Pars here, tried to go for the Electric Wind Godfist, I believe it was, could not connect on it. This is a back throw, should knock them off stage, and I don't think they'll be able to make it back. Not enough time to charge up limit there either, so good stock taken, and that puts Anthony down to their last one.
I mean, if you can even grab one more, I think that's great, right? Already in this current setup, we know Anthony just needs a little bit of a moment to kind of get prepped. And, of course, that can be a deadly second, but 121 and now chasing off the edge, trying to cover that option to get back and above. But right now, a punch to the high ceiling, still going to live at 137, covering down below, and actually gets eaten up for it. Laser not going to connect, and now you're going to try and charge your limit, waiting for the Kazuya. And, great prediction coming out of Pars right now, just saying one last hit. That will be the grab, and that is going to be the finisher. You keep all 3.
Massive play there from the side of Manchester's Pars, and it will be a struggle for them headed forward to try and even things out for Manchester. But eliminating Anthony, I think, was such a key play, and the fact that they did it without dropping a stock, holding on to that one stock, was so key. And then in that last moment, having Rage Drive online, you could tell that he was searching for that command grab, but he was being very cheeky about it. He was throwing out the quick jabs, just making sure that any kind of landing aerial like those back airs that have been so good for Anthony were only going to find shield or trade at best. And so he was very careful about knowing when to go in and baited him into a position where he could go for that command grab.
Well, now the different shakeup is the fact that, yes, you took out Cloud, but now you get to deal with Avian. Avian coming in on that min is a whole different beast to play with. Gone is the kind of the cold and calculated, Anthony. In comes the brutal, relentless min aggression, and I think the shift up, it's going to be a big test for the like of Pars, right? Pars needs to be able to switch the mindset as well as the game plan if they want to deal with Min, if they want to try and take back the stock advantage, as we're currently sitting at 6-6.
The biggest thing about this matchup for Pars is that they have to, when they get their windows to get their combos going, it can't just equal 20%. It's gotta be 30, 40. They have to be able to get more out of their advantage because those windows are so few and far between. Min covers the stage too well, and Kazuya just doesn't have the speed to be able to break through. We've seen a couple times Pars try and burst through with things like the side B or the command grab, but that spacing, you have to position yourself so perfectly and play such solid defense against this Min. So you have to make your combo starters count. And I'm just not sure how many windows they're going to get against Avian.
I'm also wondering that this has been an all-out onslaught, and then a charge smash, and then the finisher, a 0 to death to start off this game. Are you freaking kidding me, Avian?
Well, if you thought Anthony was scary, wait till you see Avian play. Oh my mercy. What a 0 to death. And again, against Pars, who seemingly has been one of the stars of this squad, getting shut down very quickly. So now they have to work even harder to try and bring things back. They will make it back to center stage. That platform being in the middle means that getting out of the corner is even more difficult. They try to use their armor on that smash attack, but still unable to connect on it. So no combo, no follow-up. A trade comes through to knock Min away, but it's not leading to all too much. Low recovery here, but should be able to snap back thanks to the tether.
Well, the problem is that those recoveries are landing Avian directly in front of Pars, and Pars is eating it up, right? Now, granted, you still don't have that stock. You're sitting on the 3 and 132 on Avian. But the challenge is still there. A single straight hit will give Pars that stock, and that's why you can see there is almost zero challenge from Avian trying to check. They're just trying to poke from afar, get that extra stock behind, and put themselves at stock lead. It's not going to happen. A boot to the face will trade it. Stock piece.
Yeah, huge stock there to take. Get one off the board. Give yourself a chance on this one, but you are still in disadvantage. 85% here. Trying to fight your way out. I love the idea, but the hits just aren't connecting right now. 112 and trapped in the corner. Up B's early here. An air dodge back will get them back to the stage, but the poke to come through, just too much to deal with. Low recovery used, and they will be able to snap back to the ledge, but for only a moment's respite. Megawatt comes through and cleans up stock number 2.
Very, very well done. Good command grab and hoping to go higher, but can't follow up behind the combo. Instead, it's only 53. 25, though, on the other end. A quick little slap into the stun, and then the punch to finish. That's the Kazuya that we know and love. Pars able to find a chance back and only 33%. Another grab. All of a sudden, Avian is on death's door. Couple more questionable marks. You have to get away, but the laser is going to slow them down. A laser chase as well. That's 2. Looking for one more, but the punch will keep him at center stage. Pars smells blood in the water. A quick combination. 1, 2, 3 into the up B. Chasing on that stage ledge, but now it's traded back. Avian just sees one straight hit to finish it off and wants to carry on forward. Will it happen? The follow-up behind 90 and counting. Another great call, and I think that almost might get a little bit of a good grab on the ledge. Just this constant back and forth. The anxiety must be through the roof.
100% here. You can't afford any more mistakes after that Megawatt connects. Low recovery, should be able to make it back, but they can't stay on the ledge. And the neutral get up gets caught once more, and Pars is shut down by Avian.
And honestly, huge props to Pars right? Those recoveries were trying to bait out so much from Avian. There were multiple times, right, at the very end, playing as long as you can without going to that ledge. It's just like, I honestly, I was trying to keep track. I thought they lost the up B for some reason. I thought they got knocked out. I was like, there's no way you recover out of this. Great hold to create space. It's just, again, the consistent onslaught out of Avian was just a little bit too strong.
Avian just was able to continually put this Kazuya into the corner, and there's no easy way out for Pars, because you saw a part of what had Pars kind of bring that back to an even state were those combos. I mean, think of the first two stocks, how they were able to take it. They got in, they got up close, and Min Min doesn't have a lot of up close options. The best they've got after those two arms are gone is up smash, and Kazi was able to kind of weave themselves behind Min Min more frequently than not. And you can tell they were starting to get the combos on lock, quick 50%. That was exactly what Pars needed. But by the time they're getting there, they are already at, 50, 50 plus or 80 plus percent by the time they are getting to that opening. So again, it goes back to that factor of breaking through Min Min is just so difficult on a slower character that by the time they got in and got the combo, the damage had already been dealt.
Well, for right now, we're talking about getting a little bit faster character. I don't know if you can go faster in a potted plant, but they're going to try. It's Piranha Plant to come out here as the last character to try and carry on to a game number 3 into a set 3 for Manchester. It's their last lifeline. It is Grimbo to come on out here.
And Grimbo on the Piranha Plant, it's going to be still a struggle of a matchup to deal with Min Min, but you do have options to try and break through. The Patui, the neutral B spike ball is one option that Min Min is going to potentially struggle with. While it is a slower projectile that you can reflect back with something like up smash, the fact that it's a lingering projectile can be very difficult for Min Min to deal with. The Poison Cloud will get damage online very quickly, and Min Min, again, with not a lot of great out of shield options, if you're able to drop that cloud on top of them, they're going to have to do something. They have to move, and that will allow Piranha Plant to potentially take advantage of those opportunities. But I think that the biggest struggle for them, again, is to play around the range that Min Min has. You do have down B, which covers a decent chunk of range, and you can potentially use to armor through, but you have to get the move out and armor through it, and that's it's just a very tough timing call for Piranha Plant to do.
So much to think about, but I mean, it's a Hail Mary, and it may or may not work in this instance. So let's look a little bit further on, right? For the side of Grimbo, you have to realize there is another player coming out here. And so this is why you're throwing that curveball in. For the side of Oakland, they have to smell victory on their hands if you want the best matchup with what we've seen already. What do you think is going to be that last player to come out to give the best anchor advantage against Piranha Plant?
Well, with Min Min and Cloud off the table and the Snake also gone, I believe Trisket would be the last man standing for the side of Oakland, and a very practiced player. Piranha Plant is a very defensive based character where they have a lot of quick punishes. They've got a lot of quick options out of shield, and if you stay too long close to them, you'll eat a ton of damage for it. So if you're Oakland, that last anchor has to play a more passive game. I wouldn't mind a more ranged character, a more traditional character like a Samus potentially, to be able to step into the ring and just play a bit more of a patient game, because Piranha Plant, like you said, not the fastest of characters, but the damage can come online very quickly if you are on top of them. So it's going to be up to Oakland to not play to Piranha Plant's pace.
Gotta go ahead and drag that plant into the sunlight or into the darkness one way or another, force them into their own game plan. We'll have to see how it breaks down, because right now it is do or die. Once again, one of these teams will be going on to face off against Stony Brook in those semifinals, which again will be played out in just 2 weeks. That is going to be the crazy factor to watch for, because already we're seeing teams fight to the absolute bitter end. And keep in mind here as well, if this Piranha Plant works out, we are going to a set number 3. So let's get into it. It is going to be that Min Min, as we said, a very bright and yellow plant. It might as well be a sunflower.
Trying to keep the sunny hopes of Manchester alive in this series. They got to find a way to shut down Avian. I like the stage selection here of Battlefield. Platforms to navigate through, a lot smaller of a stage so you can scrap with Min a bit more. But the biggest thing, I think, for this Piranha Plant is you got to see how much you can get with how little costs. Can't afford to give up too many stocks here to give yourself a chance in that third and final set. And they're already up to 74. Low recovery here means they should be able to get back to stage, but it is tough to get in right now on Avian.
And the scary thing is you're almost setting yourself up for failure. Trying to do that directional kind of makes you kind of dead in the air. We saw that earlier on the top platforms, and Avian is more than happy to try and punish. So taking a look here, that is going to be a snap on the field, a quick little grab, 125, and a little bit of a snap. And the neutral game as well is giving Avian so much room. And aim down, though, misjudges where that's going to land. Another snap out. This Piranha Plant is just angling for a brutality if they can.
It's the only way they can really contest Min's range is with that move that's got armor. But they can't get the move out in time, and that's the downside. It's why it's tricky timing. The armor on that move only comes out when the move is active. If you don't pull the trigger on that move, you don't get the armor behind it, and it's an easy pickup for this Min to snipe out and take the opening stock.
So good right now. Avian playing off this field, saying, I don't want to leave anything to chance. We're not going to deal going into that last round with all your stocks. I'm going to try and take one more as well. 101%. A possibility out of punish, but not able to find it. This is Grimbo. Unfortunately, not having a good time. Just lagging behind half a second. Great little armor there, as you were talking about. The armor keeping them safe, but 117 on Min means that we're going to play a very long and slow-placed round. We can already see the angles being held, saying, hey, I'm going to keep you at arm's length as much as possible. But it is Avian on the edge, not able to really grab ground right now.
At the moment, 129, they're able to finally get back. Good forward air off stage. Tui won't be able to intercept that tether recovery. Great movement here by Avian. And now with all this rage, you start to worry about Piranha Plant. Armoring through, lingering neutral air, won't be able to take it. Look at the aggression here. Goes up high. Neutral air will knock them off stage. Low recovery. They'll be able to snap back, but how much time do they have? Can they hold it? Up throw won't kill. Love the mix up there, but still not enough in the tank. And the arm will connect. The scoop up over top will do it. And that's another stock gone. Up throw, unable to take the final stock.
I cannot believe we are watching Avian on the cusp of just surviving for so long. 172, trying to go even higher, but that spike ball is going to be enough. That will be the finish on the stock, but man, Grimbo has to play with a single stock to try and claw back this set.
One single lifeline remains for the side of Manchester. And it is going to be a long road back, and we get to see that fourth and final member of Oakland, which is good for the side of Manchester if they're able to bring this back, but it is still just so difficult. 1 stock to 3 on Piranha Plant. I've seen 3 stocks before, but on Piranha Plant, it requires a monumental effort, and you really have to catch out mistakes from your opponent.
And the fact of the matter is we saw that fast pace come out of Avian work wonders, right? Keeping that Piranha Plant on a little bit of a timer going, how are you going to deal with this? How are you going to catch me? You have to set up so much. We're going to even further territory in aggression, right? We got Pac-Man coming out here. Another character that loves to just throw those projectiles and kind of set up moves as they go. It is frustrating, and even then, like the hydrant keeping you at bay, it will push you away if you try and set up for too long. So many things to think about if you're Grimbo.
And this plays to what I was talking about before. You are looking for a more patient style, and Pac-Man has the ability to flex to either aggressive and or passive depending on the situation. Because of how kind of floaty they are, they're able to string together aerials very quickly. Things like falling forward air can rack up, 10 to 15 to 20% very quickly, depending on how many you can string together. But also the hydrant just acts as a wall that is, impenetrable unless you fully commit to breaking it. And then you have those projectiles that Pac-Man has, like you mentioned, the different properties that they have. Apple can kill very early with a ton of knockback. The key being a massive factor, and the bell setups are also something that you have to worry about. So a lot of unique interactions when Pac-Man's on the field, but very difficult for Grimba to try and navigate.
Well, they're going to try now. However, this start is not looking good. Already on the ledge, a hunt for the final line, and that's going to be a bounce back up. 47 already on the row, and now from left to right to right to left, it is gonna be this Pac-Man to try and finish it off. Trisket saying, I'm so done right now. Let's finish this off right now. Hydrant goes flying just over the head of the Piranha plant, and so far safe for the time being.
57%. Not too bad if they're able to find a way to take this stock, but it's a lot of work to do. Poison Cloud will land. That's a good amount of damage. Off stage, able to recover back. Pac-Man is sort of in between in terms of that raw kill power in terms of stray hits. But they've right now got this plant off stage, off of that grab. Good down B, and with rage, that will kill, so that's one off the board.
I mean, that's 1 of 3, but that stun should be able to finish it. The combination, it isn't a hard hit. As you said, Pac-Man doesn't really have those finishes, and it's still 0%, but 150 is more than enough. Now, a stray hit could end a little bit of a plant to the back of the head, means that 29 is running, but that's going to be the back air, and that will be the game. It'll be Trisket to carry the likes of Oakland into the semifinals.
Trisket steps up. Their time in the spotlight was short, but they shut down Manchester, and it's a 2-0 victory for the side of Oakland University. They advance to the semifinals. They've got a date in 2 weeks with Stony Brook, and they are happy about it because having a chance to hear what a series this was from them. Just so many players throughout this sequence just felt like they had such confidence.
It was beautiful to see, and huge props because every single player came out with a little bit of a different style, right? And that's the thing. When you build a team, when you build a roster, you need variety. As much as I hate to say that, it sounds weird, but you need a variety of mindsets, play styles, and characters to come out here. And I think, honestly, Oakland have it. Right? There's a reason that they beat Manchester both times in the regular season. You're seeing this stylistic difference. Every single time, it's like a new brain is sitting down, like a brand new brain is sitting down in front of you. So Manchester, unfortunately, they fought to the bitter end. I love their ingenuity, but it just wasn't enough here tonight. I mean, it was a good attempt. I really, really do like it.
You can see the glimpses of greatness on Manchester's roster, right? You can see that they've got characters with very high ceilings, and they have combos, and they are able to get good damage online. They're able to take stocks very quickly. The problem was Oakland just had the read, and Oakland are a studious team. They're very well versed and very well practiced. They've got a lot of experience, and Oakland is the type of team that, they have, because they are so well versed and because they can kind of flip their game plan on the drop of a dime, they can be very flexible, not only in terms of philosophy and theorizing, but also in terms of the in-game. Just being able to change the pace of a matchup very quickly allows them to propel themselves forward. It's why they're a number 4 seed through the regular season. They just continued to put up win after win, and a lot of dominant ones at that. And now they've got a chance at one of the big dogs in NACE Star League.
Well, you know what? I got to ask you now. That's the whole thing, because they are going to up against a big dog here. Soy Sauce, what do you think of this upcoming matchup? It is going to be Stony Brook versus the likes of Oakland. Who do you have taken the victory? I think I know your answer, but I mean, is it going to be the same one that I'm thinking of?
Well, I have an old adage, and that's never bet against the defending champs until they're actually eliminated. So I do favor Stony Brook in that matchup, especially since Oakland, they are a team that has been kings of the regular season, but this is that exact moment for them that they just haven't quite found that prove yourself moment, prove you can beat that championship caliber, but they get another shot at it in 2 weeks, and they've got plenty of time to study for it. So if there's ever a time, it feels like this year.
All right, well, let's see if they can do it. Of course, that'll be it here tonight. Unfortunately, the teams do have to go, so we won't have an interview. We'll just see them all in 2 weeks, and we'll see you all then as well. I think we have more action, though, tomorrow, so make sure to keep track of that at NACE Star League. We want to do a huge shout-out once again to all of the amazing groups that made this possible, that made this season run. True, CDW, Alienware, Pizza Hut, Extra Life, Monster Energy, Dunkin', Mavix, as well as Odyssey, Mushroom Elixir, US Army ROTC, and LA Comic-Con. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in. My name is Orbital. With me has been Soy Sauce, as well as Tango Mango Down on production. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a fantastic night.